Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, April 21st, 2025, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Parsons?
Here.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Councilor Cross is on her way.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Starr?
Here.
Councilor Christopher?
Here.
Councilor Duran?
Here.
Youth Councilor Laddie Farrar?
Youth Councilor Laddie Farrar is excused this evening. I believe it's for football, she said. All right, thank you very much. At this time, I would invite all of you who are able to rise and all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to call up Jane Herb for Volunteer Recognition Month.
Mayor Clark, were you going to be reading the proclamation this evening?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first, and then I'll read the proclamation. The microphone is on.
Is it on?
Yes, it is.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Jane Herb from Keizer. And good evening, Mayor Clark, Council President Starr, and councilors. It's truly a privilege to be here tonight. I'm honored to be Councilor Duran's appointee for the Volunteer Coordinating Committee, and I'm excited that I'm serving as chair this year. Thank you, Councilor Duran, for the opportunity to serve in this way. Now, I say this every year, though I haven't been able to present to you all yet, but it really does bear repeating. If you want something done, ask a busy person. And I look at each one of you, and I see exactly that. You have full lives outside this chamber, families, careers, other volunteer commitments, and yet you've chosen to take on the added responsibility of serving the city of Keizer. You do it without pay and often under a lot of pressure. From the outside, most people don't realize just how many hours that you dedicate. But we get glimpses through city council meetings, committee and commission work, neighborhood association gatherings, regional meetings, and the community events where we see you out and about representing our city. On behalf of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and the people of Keizer, thank you. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your commitment to making Keizer a place we're all fortunate to call home. And we switched things up a little bit this year. We decided to revive something that I guess was done in the past, which is giving everybody who volunteers on any committees or commissions or the councilor certificates. And so I'm going to be bringing you each one of those, and we're going to give everybody a lapel pin as well from Keizer. In the future, we're looking at getting some really special pens to provide all of the volunteers who serve Keizer, just so they have something to keep. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as Jane brings those up, bring my microphone, there we go, brings those up, this is part of our Volunteer Recognition Month, and I will read the proclamation at this time. The Volunteer Coordinating Committee will be making these presentations at all of our committees and commissions. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the city of Keizer has built a strong community through a foundation of volunteerism, and whereas upon incorporation in 1982, the motto was adopted, Pride, Spirit, and Volunteerism, which describes our way of life. And whereas many residents of this community contribute to the well-being and welfare of all of our people by giving tirelessly of their time, resources, and energy. And whereas many volunteers assist the city of Keizer in performing a multitude of duties, often providing services that might otherwise be reduced or non-existent. And whereas many of our volunteers serve through city government on city council, boards, commissions, and task forces. And whereas our city's greatest resource is our people, who are dedicated to the betterment of our community, And whereas the City of Keizer values each and every one of our many volunteers and wish to extend our deepest appreciation to all. Now, therefore, the Keizer City Council assembled here in regular session does hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Volunteer Recognition Month. In witness whereof, I am herein to set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Keizer to be affixed this 21st day of April 2025. So thank you, Jane. Thank you to the Volunteer Coordinating Committee. And on behalf of the Keizer City Council, to all of our volunteers, a heartfelt thank you. And there you have it. And somebody's phone ringtone is out there. We can all hear it. Soothing. Yes, it is. Jane, can we do a picture? Actually, would you come up with, if you would come up here with us as the body being recognized as the Keizer City Council. And Dan, you can hand your phone to someone else for the picture if you would. Right there in the middle with that. There we go. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jean.
Oh, and a cookie. You know, it's not a celebration without a cookie. Thank you, Jane. Let's all thank our volunteers for the City of Keizer. It is now my pleasure to recognize or bring up the folks from Liberty House who have a special recognition for the Keizer Police Department.
Well, good evening. There we go. Hi there. Good evening, Mayor Clark and members of the council. It's a great pleasure to be joining you here tonight. I'm Bruce Anderson, Deputy CEO of Liberty House. Joining me is our CEO, Allison Kelly. Thank you so much for allowing us time on your agenda tonight. It's really an honor to be here with y'all, especially during the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we at Liberty House appreciate the City of Keizer and the Keizer Police Department for being great partners with Liberty House and on the multidisciplinary team, the MDT. First, for anyone watching tonight's meeting, because of the sensitive nature of the issue, we'll be talking about abuse, neglect, grief, trauma. And if you have or are going through that right now, help is available for you and is never too late to reach out and seek help. Liberty House is the Children's Advocacy Center serving Marion and Polk counties. As the CAC for this region, we provide specialized pediatric and therapy services for children referred for concerns of physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, witness to domestic violence, trafficking, and other types of trauma. We also provide a wide range of prevention education trainings. Liberty House opened in April 1999, and we have served over 15,000 children in our 26 years. Liberty House is one of 24 CACs here in Oregon and one of over 960 across the United States. In 2024, we served over 1,000 children between our clinic and therapy programs and provided prevention education for another 1,500 grown-ups. In 2023 and 24, Liberty House received 141 referrals for our clinical services involving children from Keizer. All of us who work at Liberty House are committed to helping children and families facing these types of concern to get the best help possible. At Liberty House, our team of trauma specialists know that trauma doesn't have to have the last word in a child or family's life. With the right intervention, the weight of trauma can be lifted so that children, youth, and families can have a higher likelihood of being safe, strong, and successful. At this point, let me turn it over to Allison.
Thank you, Bruce. Good evening, Mayor Clark, members of the City Council. It's an honor to be here with you. We are here tonight with a very special presentation honoring the Keizer Police Department. Let me explain. Children who need our services have been through very difficult experiences, which is why there are rigorous national accreditation standards promulgated by the National Children's Alliance, a nonprofit, non-governmental professional organization out of Washington, D.C. The NCA standards were developed by national specialists in medicine, social work, and mental health. The standards are high, and only about half of the Oregon CACs have achieved accreditation. Liberty House worked very hard for several years to meet those standards. And because effective responding to child abuse reports requires interagency coordination, we couldn't meet the standards without the robust involvement of local law enforcement agencies within the context of the Marion County Multidisciplinary Child Abuse Team. Your Keizer Police Department worked with us energetically for many years, contributing substantial hours in helping improve our model and approach. This past January, we learned that our efforts had paid off. We were informed that we had achieved accreditation through the National Children's Alliance. During the October 2024 site visit, the site reviewers, who had each conducted over 500 accreditation and reaccreditation site visits in their 20-year careers, told us that Liberty House and the Marion County MDT were among the top 5 they'd ever seen in their entire careers. That's the communication, the collaboration, the trust, all of it. Your Keizer Police Department played an important role in that. Their commitment to excellence, their focus on children, and dedication to best practices set a powerful example countywide. So Mayor Clark, tonight, we would like to present Chief Copeland, and I see Detective Tim Lathrop here, who's an active participant. We'd like to bring them up and present them with this framed award as a way of thanking them. Thanks to their commitment to keeping children safe and holding offenders accountable, we know that there is hope for children. And we also know, as Bruce said, it is never too late to heal. And the words on this frame gift pretty much say what I just said. So thank you very much. And Chief, can I tell you what to do? Can you come up so we can...
Okay, this is great.
Yeah.
All right, now, everybody happy? Really? That's all you get?
Mr. Jacob, I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, Keizer Police Department. Yes, Chief.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Councilors. Before he leaves the room, if you don't know that man, that's Detective Tim Lathrop and his daughter. He has been with us since 1998. He's been a detective for about 23 years, and he is our liaison to Liberty House on the multidisciplinary team. He is a workhorse, and he's an advocate for kids in our community. Our whole detective unit is phenomenal job. Time and time again, I think what makes the whole thing work is just the collaboration between Liberty House and us to make sure that our kids that are abused in this city, right? I mean, you serve all of Marion County and other places, but we are so intentional about representing our youth and making sure that they get the services they need. And what Liberty House does is help us so they don't get interviewed numerous times over and over again to get re-traumatized. They do a phenomenal job. It's a great working relationship. When they have their little open house or their luncheon, breakfast, whatever it is, go give them money. They need it. Right? I'm just saying, support them. They do phenomenal work. They're behind the scenes all the time, but it's an amazing relationship that we have with them. So thank you very much for tonight, and thank you to Detective Lathrop for being amazing. It's awesome.
Council President Starr has a question.
Allison and Bruce, before you escape, I just, kind of to build off of what Chief Copeland said, do you still give tours at Liberty House? And if so, if we could have you share with our community, the importance of coming and taking a tour and how to arrange that so our community can see what you do.
Yes, thank you, Council President Shaney Starr. We do give tours, public tours, on the first Tuesday of every month. And those happen at 5:30, and they start out at our admin building, which is at 385 and 375 Taylor Street Northeast, so literally just down the street. Liberty House is a really unique organization. So as the chief was describing, part of the assessment is to allow children to sit with somebody who's been specially trained to listen to children, not interrogate them, just listen to them and ask non-leading questions to help them describe what they've experienced. And then you can see the rest of the facilities that include a checkup room, because our trauma specialist team involves board-certified pediatricians and other medical providers and family support specialists. So these appointments can take a couple hours, more than a couple hours, sometimes 4 or more, because what we give children is the gift of time to just come and settle in and acclimate and be able to trust their surrounding and trust who's there. And then the professionals who are working with them can listen to and view their interview from another room in a safe way, and the children know about it. We tell them the truth about cameras and who might be watching. And we say the people who are working with you to help you be safe are here and here to support you. So the tour, I love that you asked that question, Councilor Starr, because we've had donors who've been donors for a long, long time tell us that, oh my gosh, I've heard you speak, or I've read the material, but it wasn't until I came on the tour that I really understood. And the one last thing I'll say, and thank you, Chief, for saying this, Liberty House is an independent 501c3. We are not an agent of the state. We do services that are mandated by the state, but only 17% of what it costs to operate Liberty House comes from the state or from public funding. And so you do see us holding fundraisers. And because of the incredible support of our Marion County-wide community, including many of you here in Keizer, I think that is what has helped us rise to the level of excellence that those site reviewers were so impressed with. So thank you for that question. I should have said that earlier. Happy to answer any of the questions you may have.
Councilor Cross has a question.
Thank you, Allison, for being here. It's nice seeing you twice in one day. Good surprise. Do you want to say something? I believe you're still selling tickets for the spring auction, which is one of my favorite auctions.
There
correct?
is an auction Thursday, May 8th, Cherish the Children. It's not a mega raffle this time, so you have to come to the dinner. There will be dancing. There will be great food, either a filet or there's a veggie option or salmon. That is one of our most important fundraisers of the year. And the reason we will have somebody who's been through, her children have been through Liberty House, and we've been asked for many years to provide that kind of testimony. And this year, this person came forward voluntarily, because we would never ask somebody to do that. It's too personal and too private. And that person came forward and wanted to help. So just go on the Liberty House website, click on events, how to support. There's still time to buy tickets. I'm putting together a table, so please join us.
Thank you. And if you could just say a quick blurb about the I Respect program.
Yes. Several years ago, when we were doing strategic planning at the beginning of the calendar year, a detective within the Marion County Multidisciplinary team said, I just wish there were a way to help youth understand the minute they send that photo of an unclothed part of their body out via their phone, it is out there forever, and they will lose control over it. And it can really result in harm. We now know the average age of child getting a cell phone is 7 or younger. And there are risks associated with that. And Councilor Starr participated with us in many meetings. We held 3 years of focus groups to land on a healthy message, and that gave birth to this program called I Respect and Protect. It has a website, irespectandprotect.com. And there are materials on that website for free for anybody working with youth, parents, teachers, coaches, youth serving professionals, and for youth, to help them learn how to gain some self-awareness and self-efficacy over that. We presented that to the Willamette Education Service District. They said, great, how fast can you come back with a curriculum? We said, no problem, and then went back to the office and said, how do you do that? And we were able to write one and we've piloted it in several sixth grade health classrooms, and this last year completed a professional evaluation led by a team of researchers from the University of Oregon that demonstrated that that program was effective in achieving its goals. We're looking for phase 2 of that evaluation. But I will tell you, 85% of the sixth graders who filled out the survey said they would recommend that class to a friend of sixth graders. It was that effective. So thank you for that. We have a huge responsibility to help our children be safe online. And yeah, I think you probably know that I'm pretty passionate about that. So thank you for the opportunity. irespectandprotect.com. It's all free.
Outstanding. Any additional questions? Thank you so much to you and your team for reaching for excellence, which we know that our children deserve the best. Thank you for providing that. Again, once again, everybody, thank you to Liberty House and Keizer Police Department. That concludes this evening's special orders of business. We are now going to committee reports. And before we go to the Neighborhood Association annual reports, I would like to, with concurrence of council, invite Chief Hector Blanco to come and give his report to the City Council, and also give us a chance to say congratulations on your pending retirement.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. And just another prop for Liberty House, they do training. They've been to our fire station and completed some training for our staff, and it gives them great insight in kind of the process of how it goes along. So they do a really good job with that. So, but thanks again for mentioning my retirement. Looking forward to it. Getting closer and closer every day. This might be my last meeting, so that's pretty exciting for me as well. So the position closes in early May, so probably won't be here for Cinco de Mayo, I'll tell you that right now, and that's your next meeting, I believe. So if it's further in the month, it'll probably just be either my replacement or Anne-Marie. Someone will be over, so. But thank you again. For March, I'll go ahead and go right to the numbers. For March, we had 568 calls, 3 fires, 464 EMS calls, 44 service calls, and 57 either false alarms, CO alarms, or fire alarms. For general information, we have received our 2 ambulances, and the staff is working on getting those in place. It should take about a month by the time licensure gets in place. The state authorizes us to use it. The inspection is completed. It takes about a month, so we're probably, I'm going to say 3 weeks away from it being in place. A reminder about the Keizer Firefighter Breakfast is Keizer Fest Firefighter Breakfast is going to be Sunday, May 18th from 7:30 to 11:30. I put some flyers in the back, but they're usually can be found on the website. We're also going to be hosting a wildlife prevention and preparedness on May 6th from 5 to 7. And the team will consist of Keizer, Marion County, Salem Fire, Central Marion Community Risk Reduction, and the State Fire Marshal's Office. So they're going to provide a lot of insight on what to prepare, what red flag means, just all kinds of information on that. So if you want to know what it's all about, come on down to the fire station from 5 to 7. Let's see here. For the community risk resources, again, Mid-Valley Resources is managing them. And Liberty House is part of the resources, so whether a CSOC or a police officer or someone from the public is looking for something in that manner, they can find that in that resource. We're also using the Northwest Senior and Disability Services, or ADRC. They do a great job for us older individuals in the community to help us with some resources. Like I mentioned, we're recruiting for a community engagement coordinator, and I believe that closes like May 2nd. So depending on how long it takes, and I'm pretty sure there was somewhere near 15 applicants and like 30 that had started the application but haven't completed it yet. So it's going to hopefully find somebody that works well with you guys and provide you the information you need. We're also continue to recruit for non-response. We had 2 interviews set up for tonight, and one of the individuals got hurt, so we're going to go do it next Monday. So if anybody is interested in that, we're going to be doing interviews on Monday, and that would be a great time because I could slip you in there and get you interviewed for that as well. And that can be found on our website as well as far as the application. We hosted the CSOCs for lunch and resource sharing last week. The meeting went really well. They were able to coordinate and discuss some of the concerns and things that they have going. Right now, you're probably familiar that they have what they call the CSOC closets. So they're closets in the schools that have incidentals. And from time to time, somebody's missing something, or a child needs a shoelace, a belt, whatever it is, a t-shirt, and they can get it from there. So they're all in need of things right now. So if you know anybody who can provide any type of incidental, just contact the CSOCs or contact me and I'll hook you up with who they are. And they share those as well. So if one school has something and another one is looking for something, they'll run over there real quick and drop it off, vice versa. So they work really well. We were at Claggett Creek Middle School for the Avid and Aspire College Career Night. We'll also be at Kennedy on Friday for Career Night. And of course, we were there with Keizer Police, who always seem to follow us around. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. They're there as well, supporting the community and providing insight. We also are working with all our faith organizations right now. We want a one-stop email list for all of them. So we're sharing information with them, vice versa. If they're looking for information, they can send it to us, and then we just put it all together. That way we can provide them a quick way to get information. And the last reminder is for the Defensible Space Grant is still going on, and it'll be discussed more during that red flag, I call it the red flag class, but it is still online at OregonDefensibleSpace.org. And then our next seat clinic is May 16th, 971-707-0472. 971-707-0472. And you can make yourself an appointment for a car seat in case you need one, or if it needs to be adjusted, whatever you may need.
Right.
I'm ready for questions if you have any.
And Counselor Christopher has one.
I want to know how many days.
Approximately 20.
Yeah. Did you realize when you said, instead of wildfire, you said wildlife?
I did not.
I think you were thinking retirement.
That's very possible.
I'm pretty sure you were. Could you define what CSOC is for the folks who don't know what that acronym stands for?
The CSOC are individuals that work for the school. They are Community Service Outreach Coordinators.
Yes.
And that was a tough one.
And-
But not all the schools have them. Some will send a counselor whenever we have our meetings. And other ones aren't. I can't think of the name of what the school has to be to have the CSOC, but some of them don't have that. And so they don't have them at all. But again, they try to send a counselor.
And the last thing is, the closets you mentioned, those are the Keizer closets. And those are maintained by Keizer Community Foundation. I'm on that board, and we work like this with the CSOCs.
Okay.
In fact, we host them once a year just so that they get to talk and meet one another. That happened for the first time last year, and you're absolutely right. It was miraculous how they got to put a face to a name, and they share all of the things that kids need. So it's emergency food, it's emergency clothing, it's emergency hygiene. So you'd be surprised, the number one thing in demand is Speed Stick deodorant. These kids are fourth and fifth graders, and there are lots of changes happening in their bodies. So where normally, they smell a little gamey when they've been outside, when they're in the fourth or fifth grade, it's a little amped up. And then the other thing that we have is if kids have accidents, there's this extra set of clothes so that they're not embarrassed, they don't have to leave school. So there are pull-ups and anything emergency, anything clothing and hygiene and food emergencies, that's what the Keizer Closets do. Again, wonderful organization. And on Facebook, they have a Facebook page, Keizer Closet does. It's Audrey Butler. It's her brainchild, and it's a fabulous idea. So thanks for the nod.
Oh, I appreciate the
20-day
clarification as well.
Can I just call you 20?
Thank you very much. Counselor Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Hector,
Yes, ma'am.
congratulations, Grand
Yes.
Marshal of the Keizer Fest Parade.
Bravo.
Yes.
I appreciate that as well.
Only took you 30 years.
That definitely was an honor and definitely a surprise. I wasn't expecting that at all, but looking forward to it.
So great.
Congratulations. And
Thank
again,
you.
thank you for these reports, not just to us, but also for the Keizer community and keeping us connected. Information is power, and it's been a powerful way to build relationship. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it as well.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will now go to item 5A, the West Keizer Neighborhood Association Annual Report. And at this point, we'll bring up the Keizer Neighborhood Association City Manager. Is there a staff report that goes with it?
Madam Mayor and Council, these are just your annual reports which are required for the city to recognize the neighborhood associations. And so tonight we have two, and I believe this wraps up all of our neighborhood association annual reports.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Good evening. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name's Rhonda Rich. I'm president of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association. To my left is Rob Witters. He's the vice president this year. And then in the audience, we have Carolyn Holman, who's the secretary. Chris Adams is one of our board members and couldn't make it tonight, but Brenda Lamb, Carol Phipps, and Art Maurer are also on the board. The complete report can be found on the city website and our website, but I'm going to give you a synopsis of that because we're on TV and I hope people are watching because I don't think they're going to read that 12-page report. But that was a chronological report. So back in 2024, we had elections. Last year I was president, Rob was vice president, Carolyn was secretary, and the directors were Carol Phipps, Art Maurer, Gary Blake, and Carol Dorfler. Carol Dorfler resigned in July and Chris Adams was elected. A tribute and thank you was presented to Carol at an August City Council meeting. She served 14 years on the WICNA board, 5 years as president, and we miss her. We're going to recognize Gary Blake's contribution at a May meeting. 17 years he's served on the board and 2 years as president. Our general meetings are held on the second Thursday of each month, except for June, July, August, and December. And we meet at Keizer City Hall at 7 p.m. And we want to thank you to Lily Vaughn and Nolan Gonzalez for providing a room, setting it up for us. It's great. I'd like to publicly recognize and thank the following people who have given of their time to come and share information at the general meetings. Councilor Laura Reed and Councilor Kyle Duran were our liaisons last year. Mayor Kathy Clark, Councilor Starr, Councilor Duran, and Francisco Saldivar, who spoke at a candidates forum. Bill Lawyer, Chief Copeland, Shane Witham's not here tonight, and Jenny Annam from Ammon from the city staff came and presented. We had representatives from the Liberty House and Samoka Place, and Anne Marie Storms, Deputy Fire Marshal and Chief Hector Blanco from the Keizer Fire Department came and presented. So publicity is through the WICNA email list. We have 275 subscribers. The City of Keizer website, the Chamber of Commerce online calendar, the Keizer Times, we're in there weekly and all the neighborhood associations are under recurring events. Facebook, we have 410 followers and the Coming School newsletter. The WICNA website manager is Barbara Smith Henke. Administrators are myself, Rob, Carolyn, and Carol Phipps. And yard signs are posted the weekend before our meetings, thanks to Art Maurer and Dennis Phipps. Additional outreach, we have WICNA Today, our newsletter, which is emailed and posted on the website. We publish that 3 times a year, April, August, and December. Informational flyers and newsletters are provided in brochure boxes at West Keizer Parks, Cummings School, Keizer Chamber, and City Hall lobby, and the Keizer Heritage Center. The Keizer Times, we appreciate their partnership. They put in, advertised for all the neighborhood associations in 4 editions last year. The Keizer Chamber of Commerce, we're in the visitor guide and business directory along with other neighborhood associations. and the Wickna Little Library at Raffel Street and Shoreline. We have bookmarks to advertise in there. We put in each book. Outreach is also accomplished through special activities. Cummings Elementary School, we do safe routes to school, school grounds beautification, back to school night, and Cummings Neighborhood Family Council barbecue. In the community, we've had joint neighborhood association meetings, the state of the city, candidate forums, and a community safety awareness event. We also had a table at the October Keizer Fire Department open house. We do National Night Out, trunk or treat event at Radness and Sue's, and Thanksgiving community dinner at St. Edward's Church. In the parks, we promoted and installed, actually Carol Phipps and her husband, fence pickets at the Big Toy at Keizer Rapids Park. We had an information table and gave out free books at Soggy Day in the park. Trashy Tuesday cleanup at Sunset Palmacia Parks, which starts in June, Trashy Tuesdays. Trail building projects at Wallace House Park. Rain garden workshop at Keizer Rapids. The issues that we addressed at the West Keizer Neighborhood Association is parks. We've been involved with the planning of the Keizer Rapids turf fields, and we sent a letter, I'm almost done. And we sent a letter of support for funding through a local government grant. In the fall, members gave input to the Parks Board and City Council as a follow-up on the hours of operation for field lighting due to late night noise concerns. We also, in discouraging homeless camps and illicit activities such as graffiti in our parks, by being involved in projects to make our parks more accessible and attractive for park users. Board member liaisons frequently patrol our parks. Traffic safety, we gave testimony in regards to the neighborhood traffic management program. We testified to the Traffic Safety Bikeways Committee on the success of the flashing speed signs on Shoreline Drive and the speed bump at Cummings Elementary School. In the community, we advocate for the welfare of our children through the Neighborhood Family Council at the Cummings School through CBEL and the PTA. We also aid in alleviating food insecurity in our community through the management of 3 food barrels. We have food barrels at Copper Creek Mercantile, Bi-Mart, and the Rec, and we previously had the Rec one at the Keizer Fire District. So collections in 2024 were 3,160 pounds and $414. We also encourage emergency preparedness through our support of Keizer Fire District activities and programs. So the WICNA will continue this year with activities that support our purpose for existing as stated in our bylaws. And we want to thank the City Council for your support from the general fund budget and use of the Civic Center meeting room. And we now request that you extend recognition for the WICNA for the year 2025.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for the work you are doing for the West Keizer area and our Keizer community. Are there any questions for Rhonda or Rob? Council President Starr, would you please put a motion on the table?
I move the Keizer City Council accept the report of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the West Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the report of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the West Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Thank you again so much for all you're doing.
Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to welcome up the Greater Gupser Neighborhood Association for their annual report.
That's a hard act to follow.
Welcome.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Patty Tischer, and I'm the president of Greater Gupser Neighborhood Association. And this is Laura Daniel, our secretary. I already had submitted the entire report, so I didn't really want to read everything. There was just a couple of things that I wanted to point out. I looked over the packet online and 327 pages that you all have to review. So I didn't want to have to read everything for you. One of the items, page 58, that had gotten submitted is one of the ads, the recent ad. This had gotten cut off. And so I just wanted to point out, and what, as Rhonda had said, all of the neighborhood associations go together and share ads with Keizer Times and City Chamber, the directory. So that's a nice collaboration that we do. The other thing that you might have seen in my packet, and as a copy, it probably didn't visualize very well, so I wanted to bring this. This is another item that I printed off, and when we do joint meetings, I put this out so that community members can have this as to go, and these are the QR codes that go to each of our individual neighborhood association pages on the city website. And then what we've done for Gubser for our business cards is we just do these individually, and then each of us on the board, then we can just write our own personal information when we're talking to people. So this was a really nice setup that we've been able to use. So I just wanted to point that out and give a better visual to everybody. And let's see. Oh, and the other correction that I wanted to make with our budget, I had indicated on my report that we had utilized $410 so far, but I had an additional expense that I submitted to my budget to Tim after I submitted the report, and so we're at 440. So we're within our numbers. And the reason that we haven't utilized more of the budget is because we're still holding off because we have a big expense for yard signs. That is, again, that's been something that we've just kind of been carrying over, and we've just kind of been holding back for that expense because it's a big expense, and we just want to be very responsible with the money and find a good price before we expend on that. So we're trying to be very frugal with funds. So I don't have anything else that I wanted to point out. If any of you have any questions for us.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Are there any questions for Ms. Tischer? Counselor Christopher?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank you and say what a great job you're doing. Patty always has everything so well in hand. I'm the liaison to that neighborhood association. She always has everything so well in hand when we get there, and it's just really comfortable, casual, good conversation. I think you do an excellent job.
Thank you.
And so I'm sorry, but you can never leave.
What? Okay. Anyone can take over anytime.
No,
But
Patty,
thank you
no.
for the compliment.
Definitely teamwork. If people want to know more, you have a Facebook page, and do you have a website as well?
We don't have a website, just the Facebook page, and we have a few admins, but we're not very good. It's kind of always, it's like, oh, that's right, we need to share or put things on. So we're all very busy, and we forget sometimes to do that. So we're trying.
It's a lot of work to keep up social media. All of us who do it know, I'm seeing a lot of head nods in the audience going, yep, it's a lot of work. But thank you for the hard work and the outreach. Appreciate that. Anything further? Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association for an additional year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association for an additional year. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection and much thanks, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
And we'll go now to item 5C, and this is for the Community Diversity Engagement Committee appointment, the CDEC, position number 4, and this goes to Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. I first want to say thank you to Carrie Brown for all the hard work that she's done. I want to give some history about my involvement with this committee. I have not appointed anyone for over 2 years. This is still Councilor Herrera's appointee, which I see out there. Thanks for being here. And what I have done in this committee is Thais Roddick, when Councilor Hussman was having trouble finding an appointee, Mayor Clark reached out to me. That was me reaching out to Thais because I have a relationship with her and I knew her background at the lottery. When Councilor Duran was having trouble, I reached out to Stephanie Cross, my sister-in-law, because I knew of her background at the DMV. So I have been aware of that boards and commissions should be a reflection of our community. Again, thank you, Carrie Brown, for all your work. I love seeing you at Travel Salem. I love that you're everywhere. I have no doubt that we're all volunteers and we want for the good of the city. But right now, I'm going to make a different appointee. And that is going to be Elaine Wilson, which is here. I'm going to ask her to come up. I'm going to say a few things about her. Elaine came over from Brazil when she was 21 as an immigrant. She didn't speak one word of English. Now she lives here in Keizer as a single mom, raising 2 kiddos, an 8 and a 12-year-old, in one of the apartments that I know a lot of our community doesn't like to see pop up everywhere. Well, it's true, but I think she's a champion. She's been on the budget committee. This will be her since October 2023 when she was appointed. And I'm really excited to have her be a presence there. So thank you for being here.
Ms. Wilson?
Hi, good evening. Is it working?
Yes, it is.
It is. There we go.
Red light on? I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, Mayor Clark, President Councilor Starr, all the members, Cross, staff. Thank you for this nomination. I'm very excited. I'm a little bit nervous to be here. There's more people than expected. As you've mentioned, I am an immigrant. I've been here for quite a while. I've been a resident of Keizer for the past 16 years, and I'm raising my kids here. When I joined the budget committee 2 years ago, it was interesting, stuck with me. President Starr asked what brought me to Keizer, and marriage brought me to Keizer, and now divorce keeps me here. So it's working out how it's meant to be, but I'm very grateful to be in this city, to be in this community where I'm raising my kids, where I feel safe. And I think, so going from the budget committee where I'm having the opportunity to be more part of what's going on the place I live, which when you're busy, sometimes it's so easy to not really take a closer look. And I'm having the opportunity to take a closer look, to be an impact on the community. And now with the opportunity to join the Community Diversity Engagement Committee, I had to practice this at home. It's a tongue twist for me. I'm just hoping that I can be of help and an asset to the community with my background, with my life experience, with what I'm doing. I'm hoping that maybe my experience can be related to somebody, as I'm sure people who have not been in my position cannot understand maybe what I'm talking about when you're crossing the country from New York to Oregon back when you don't have phones or Google, and here we go. So maybe not everybody would relate to that experience. So I think that adds to the diversity of the community we're in. I also think and hope that the work that we're trying to do and accomplish right now is not just for us, it's not just for today. This is a long-term goal of the community. I was thinking like, what exactly are we doing? But I think, at least for me, I'm hoping to be an asset, to make an impact. and to lead by example, right? We can just sit here and just say we're going to do this, but are we leading by example? Now, for me personally, I'm hoping that it's something that my kids can look up to and continue the work for the next generations, not just for today. This is long term. Then we're trying to improve our community and strengthen. So thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm open if anybody has any questions for me.
Thank you very much. Right. Thanks for being here tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That concludes committee, well, let me double check. Lisa Sajeka, you are here for a committee report for parks.
Thank you for being here, Elaine.
Thank you, Elaine.
Hello. It's nice to see you all tonight. All bright, shiny faces. For the record, I'm Lisa Sajeka. I'm here to do the Parks Board report. And we talked about a lot of stuff. Shocking. We had the volunteer appreciation. It was very, very nice to be appreciated. As always, we don't do it for the appreciation, but it's always nice to get. We had an interested citizen that showed up and wondered about standards about memorials in parks. So there didn't used to be, like, apparently a standard, like things could vary from way to way. So now I know that the standard is a standard plaque on a bench, but there is one memorial that's in Keizer Rapids that's right along the river that's kind of a little bit different. It's got a freestanding memorial and it gets tagged all the time. Right now it's bright blue. It's been bright red. It kind of stands out, but we're just wondering if there's a way to kind of standardize things. So we will be looking into that. There was a document that wasn't really an official document. And so we hope to bring that back in June for our next big meeting. Now is a beautiful time in the parks. I'm sure that each and every one of you have been able to get outside a little bit. It's March. It's the time of year when it could be raining, it could be hailing, it could be 70, 80 degrees. And if you don't like the weather right now, give it 5 minutes and it might be 2 or 3 different things. It's warm enough that everything's growing like crazy and the parks are all spongy. Therefore, it's hard to mow them and keep up on the mowing. I mean, and I was in Sunset Park and it's beautiful. And then I went and the next day I went to Sunset Park and it was looking shaggy because that's what grass does, is it grows. So overall, our parks are great. You know it, I know it. And we've got a lot of things going on. Most of the comments were, let me back up a little bit. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired today, so I'm a little tiny bit loopy. I had some coffee. I think it's helping. But our youth liaison at the last volunteer coordinating committee was reappointed to us. So we have him for at least another year. So we're very, very happy about that. And his big comment was, whenever I go to Keizer Rapids, all of the park is being used. Mm-hmm. It's not, oh, there's a bunch of people at the turf fields, or oh, there's a bunch of people at the pickleball courts. There are a lot of people everywhere. And it's beautiful. I mean, that's what we want. We want people to come to the park. We want people to have wild spaces. We want people to have organized spaces. We want the big open, sit and play, all of that. The dog park, we want all of that. Ryan J. Hill Park is all prepped and ready to go because we have a big groundbreaking on April 26th. That's this Saturday from 11 to 12. To put the Gold Star, to start with the Gold Star Memorial Monument. There has been tremendous community support, tremendous fundraising efforts. I mean, I cannot thank people from the rec, I cannot thank the Elks, I cannot thank all the people who have come together. Matt Lawyer has been working his fingers to the bone along with so many other parts of the community and people who, like, Albany Home Depot donated a bunch of stuff. They donated shovels for the groundbreaking and a Traeger and all of these things for for our success. And so it's going really, really well. So I hope to see all of you then. That would be fantastic. And then I want to tell you about, we're going to do the big toy cleanup at Keizer Rapids Park. That's going to be in June, tentatively painting on the 21st. That could change, but we'll have a parks meeting between now and then. So if things change, we will tell you. Okay. And the staff report, Keizer Fest is going to be in the park, and it's going to be from May 13th to 18th? No?
15.
15th to 18th. Okay, we looked in the newspaper, it said 13th. That's fine. But I know that they're gonna do a small, that was rude, wasn't it? It's okay. I still like you. They're gonna do a small pickleball clinic. I think in the future, they have their sights set on maybe a pickleball tournament, but they're going to do a pickleball clinic. And that's exciting. The other thing, to kind of segue into pickleball, they're going to keep the pickleball courts at Bob Newton Park. I know that some people have been advocating for maybe a sports, court at Country Glen Park, but we talked about having to go back into the parks master plan for that. But the pickleball, not this month, but the month before, we went and looked at the rules again, and there had been 0 complaints about the rules as posted. No one's complained, so we figured if it's not broken, we're not going to mess with it. But this time we heard a few rumblings about, well, people don't quite know, so if anybody who's out there watching has input, please come to a parks meeting. The second Tuesday in June is our next great big parks meeting. So please come, talk to us. We want to listen to you. What else is there on? I want to say thank you for everybody who showed up for the cleanup around the Civic Center. Over 100 volunteers in the most horrific weather in recent memory. Thank you to everybody who showed up. Okay. And, I'm probably going to forget something. It's going to be
Well, I do have a
awful.
couple questions for you.
Okay,
I'm going to go to Counselor Christopher, had a question.
okay.
And I believe Counselor Duran, did you have something? No.
Thank you for looking into memorials. That's been a problem for a long time. And even over at the Cultural Center, which is part of the City Hall campus,
Yeah,
don't forget that area.
Okay.
We've had to do research, and I can provide Counselor Parsons. There were two of the memorial tags that went on the benches. Here's the problem with that. We don't have contact for the families that initially put those on the benches that have since disintegrated.
yeah.
So the little metal tabs are still in place, but we don't have that. And so really think about that when you're seeing, what are we going to do for memorials? The other thing is metal memorials get stolen because there's activity to melt down the metal for other nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
So think about that. But, something you might think of too is somehow develop something so that you could put, I know at the state capitol, there's trees designated
Yes, there are.
to folks. And then you can adopt a tree. And that might be a possibility as well. And I've talked with the city manager. I'm a big favor of these powder-coated benches because the powder coating lasts for 25 to 30 years.
Right.
The benches that we have around our civic center, if you go and look, they've all got a name on them.
Yeah.
And so they're all memorial benches, but they look like heck.
Right.
And that is a broken window.
Well, and we had the memorial, the water fountain out at the Little League field that.
And the roses out there, all those
Yeah.
roses are memorial roses
Right.
from children who played Keizer Little League and who've passed away. So,
Yeah.
yeah, all of those things. I'm thrilled, Lisa, that you are addressing that issue and Counselor Parsons, because
Yeah.
it's been a real problem of consistency and then also who's going to maintain it.
Well, and the fact that, this has been there and it's not a really old memorial. And it was a kind of a special situation where the person who was grieving went and cleared out a whole area, because it was all just like little trees and downed stuff and poison oak everywhere. And he cleaned it all out and did all of this stuff. But now I don't know if they still have contact information.
There you go.
Because, we wouldn't want to make this change without talking to them.
Right.
So, yeah, no, if we just made a system, that would be fantastic.
So thanks.
Thank you.
And then from the Parks Board, then working with staff to bring recommendation for any changes.
Yeah, no.
Counselor Parsons, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think she covered it all.
Well, the only thing, I didn't cover the fact that the docs will be put out sometime in May. We usually put the docs out. We try to put the docs out sometimes in April, and then we have to bring them back out.
Yeah.
We're gonna put them back
Because
in,
all of a
so
sudden it's gonna
stay
be
tuned.
awful.
If you see them in, they're in. I mean, that's all we can tell you. Robert says he just,
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I wish that I was special enough to get like a day notice so I can go there and just sit up above and watch, because I was there once and it was so cool. But I know.
No, she covered it. It's very important too. June 21st, painting Big Toy. If it's not
Yes.
raining, we're there. So please, we can use all the help we can get. We want to get it done that day so we can
Yes.
recommit that for another 10 years.
Absolutely.
They just show up.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is Soggy Day in the Park is May 24th,
Yes.
Yep.
and we're hoping it's not soggy.
Remember, we're not having a meeting in May. We
I
don't have a
right.
next meeting until June.
That's right, that's so, yeah.
Because some people have to do budget.
Budget thing,
But
yeah.
budgeting is very important, so if you wanted to come to a Parks meeting and you showed up in May, just stay for the budget meeting. It'd be really exciting.
Indeed. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here for a committee report? This is the only one I had of slip for. Okay. Let's go then to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have one public hearing this evening. That's an OLCC application, license application for Micheladas Antojitos El Perico Mobile. So if you're here for that, please stay tuned. And before we go to spoken comment, I do have a written comment from the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association. And this is in reference to one of the agenda items this evening, which is on the proclamations and commemorations, encouraging us to keep Constitution Week as part of the proclamation process. So thank you for that letter. And I do not have anyone signed up for public comment. Were there any slips that were turned in, Ms. Bissett? Okay. With that, we're a little bit behind schedule, so I will move on then to the consent calendar. Council President Starr, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Our consent calendar consists of item A, resolution authorizing the city manager to sign an intergovernmental agreement between Marion County and City of Keizer for Community Prosperity Initiative CS 5974-24. Item B, a resolution recognizing national observances and commemorative heritage months, repeal of resolution R 2025-3565. Item C, a resolution adopting the City of Keizer Council Rules of Procedures and repealing resolution R 2025-3535. Item D, Police Department Community Service Petty Cash Fund Report. Item E, approval of the February 18th, 2025 regular session minutes. And item F, approval of the April 7th, 2025 regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. I would like to pull B. Any other polls? Seeing none, Council President Starr.
I move that we adopt the consent calendar, items A, C, D, E, and F.
Second.
Consent calendar items A, C, D, E, and F have been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. I pulled 7B for the purpose of, again, I feel it's very important to include Constitution Week as was submitted in the public comment, and if there is no change because of that, I will be a no vote. So with that, Council President Starr, would you put the motion on the table?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt the resolution recognizing national observances and commemorative heritage months, repeal of resolution R2025-3565.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R 2025, recognizing national observances and commemorative heritage months, repeal of resolution R 2025-3565. And as I stated, I would like to add Constitution Week back in as a activity we do at the City Council, as noted in the letter that we received from the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association. This is used by teachers in schools in our district. With that, I would like to make a motion to amend to put Constitution Week in as a recognized proclamation in City Council on September, the second meeting in September. Looking for a second.
I'm going to second because I want discussion. I have a question.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council amend the observances and commemorative to add Constitution Week proclamation in the, for the second, second council meeting in September. So we're open for discussion. Councilor Parsons.
Thank you. So I guess I'm a little confused. Constitution Week is studied in the schools whether or not the Daughters of the Revolution come here or not, right? I mean, it's already there. I mean, when I taught second grade, we taught Constitution Week. I mean, is it the proclamation, is that important to the students and the teachers? I guess that's my question.
As it is my understanding that teachers use this, the video and the materials that are presented here as part of their lesson plan. In addition, for me personally, this is an important one to highlight and to present at a city council meeting, because this is the foundation of everything that we are doing, is to have that part of a city council meeting. And in addition, this is requested specifically by a local organization of the Daughters of American Revolution, and they come every year for this proclamation. So that is why I'm making this request, and I'm being a broken record on it, and I know it. And so there you go. Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. I just want to remind anybody that's just tuning in and hasn't heard about this, that we did go over this in a committee, and it was for the act of being timely, where the list came from, and limiting it to one meeting. So it's not, I am all about we the people. It is not about Constitution Week. It's about going through and being effective with our time. I love America.
Just for the record, also, the one that is on the agenda for that second, yes? Councilor Christopher?
Just want to give her a flag.
Okay. Anything else? The one that's on the agenda for the second meeting in September is also very important to our community and requested by local organizations, and that is Hispanic Heritage Month. Also very important for Keizer. So I'm asking for an exception to have two. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no.
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 Motion fails. We'll go back to the original motion. So with that, all in favor for the original motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. No. Motion passes 6-1, Clark being the no. Thank you very much. Let's go on then to public hearings. I will now open public hearing for the OLCC application, license application, Mijaledas Antojitos, El Perico, Mobile. And Ms. City Manager, so go to Ms. Bissett.
This does. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Right, Ms. Bissett.
Mayor and city councilors, the city received an application for a full on-premises OLCC license from Michelitos Antojitos El Perico Mobile LLC located at 4415 River Road North in Keizer. As required by our Keizer Code, Chapter 4, a public hearing was scheduled for this evening. Notice was published and mailed to all property owners within 200 feet of the establishment, as well as the West Keizer Neighborhood Association. The police department conducted a background of the applicant and has no reason to recommend denial of the application. Staff recommends that the council recommend approval of the application for Michelitas Antojitos El Perico Mobile LLC.
Right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the application or the staff report? I do not have anybody signed up under this public hearing. Is there anyone from the establishment who is here who would like to speak to council, or anyone else who would like to address the council under this public hearing? Seeing none, is there anything else that council needs prior to closing the public hearing? The public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council recommend approval of the application for a new license application for a full on-premises commercial liquor license for OLCC application Micheladas Antojitos El Perico Mobile LLC under the guidelines established by ORS 471.175 and the Code of the City of Keizer.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council recommend approval of the application for a new license application for a full on-premises commercial liquor license for OLCC application, license application, Micheladas Antojitos El Perico Mobile LLC under the guidelines established by ORS 471.175 and the Code of the City of Keizer. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. That concludes our public hearings for this evening. We will now go to administrative action. Item 9A, which is resolution authorizing city manager and chief of police to sign 2025-2026 collective bargaining agreement with the Keizer Police Association for the Sergeant Collective Bargaining Unit. City manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Our city attorney is going to cover this, but just add that it comes with my support for it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you. It is my pleasure to present this item. This is the first collective bargaining agreement that the City of Keizer would have between the Keizer Police Association Sergeants Bargaining Unit. So now, because of legislation back last June, sergeants can now collectively bargain. And so our group has decided to do so. And this would be the first time, and this would be the first CBA. It is based in a pretty great part on the work that was already done with the Keizer Police Association at large. Because a lot of their processes and their shifts and their, workplace protocols and standards and such are all the same. What this does is it allowed for the sergeants to come in and bargain. There are currently 6 of them, and they wanted to get a few things mostly in parity with the Keizer Police Association. The highlights of this, we've been bargaining since November 13 officially, and started out bargaining and kind of laid out the land of Keizer, which is Keizer does a lot with less. Our tax rate is lower, and so we appreciate and value all of our human resources here. And the human beings that work for Keizer, but yet we had to kind of strike a balance between, finding value in the marketplace versus showing people that we valued them. So went back and forth, round and round, And the long and the short of it is that we agreed on some of these highlights, a 3% COLA in July, so starting in July. They're going to reconfigure their steps, so they'll have a six-step system. And when you look at compensation in Oregon, you have to look at cities that are comparable to us, and those are anything that's 150% in population, either above us or below us. So there's only so many cities that we can look at, and then really you have to look regionally. So we're Willamette Valley, and so we had to kind of pick Willamette Valley cities and really look at our marketplace as cities that are similar in size and similar in area. And so having looked at those very closely and kind of putting together, especially with the help of Garrett Keizer, we put together comparables that kind of demonstrated the marketplace. And we have a philosophy, you guys have a philosophy, and you let me know it, is that there's a philosophy of not getting too far afield of your marketplace. So really, there was this idea of trying to aim either within 5% below or above. And this first CBA that we're asking you to ratify is at 1.9% above the marketplace. So it's right, almost in the middle, right where you'd want to be so that you can recruit and retain, but then we're not spending like sailors. And so hopefully, the other thing is we baked in, City Manager Brown was big on this as well, baking in, and I know you guys are, some good incentives. So there's a 2.5% incentive for people who get associates. There's a 5% incentive for people who get a bachelor's. And that lends itself within research showing that people who have accomplished those tasks actually have a lot less critical incidents. They don't have as much use of force. So it actually blends right into good, responsible police work as well. So we're happy with those. Similarly, there's a certification incentive, which is for a management certificate, which is kind of the highest level of certification you can get. I might be misspeaking because the chief, there might be one more executive, but the management level is the second highest you can get, and we wanted to incentivize our sergeants because we would love to see them grow into lieutenants and such. So there's a 4% on that. Otherwise, we're looking at pretty similar to what the other police have, the rank and file folks, and we would love for this to be ratified and in the books so that we can get moving down the road and have everybody exactly where they have agreed to be. The sergeants have already voted for this, and so it's good to go. If you guys vote to ratify this tonight, it'll be ratified, and everybody came away from the bargaining table pleased.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the staff work, both sides of the conversation. Are there any questions for our staff? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On page 74 of their agreement, it says the buying and selling, distributing, transporting, possession, manufacturing, consuming of illegal drugs per federal law, including marijuana or alcohol use, while on city property or in city vehicles. I mean, is just while they're in cars, they can't do illegal drugs, or is, just a little definition on that.
Yeah, we are of the mind in Oregon that, federal law also applies. And so marijuana, for instance, would be one that you go, oh, is that still something? No, we're stringent about the level of substance abuse. And so something like that would not be tolerated. As far as the while in city vehicles, you're talking page 74 where?
A, prohibited conduct, A, letter A.
Yeah, and so that is also, this appendix is a drug and alcohol policy that is also pulled from, just so you know, many police agencies use a very similar drug policy. And so this is something that we attach because oftentimes in our personnel policies, as you guys have seen, if there's a CBA, it rules over what the policy is if there's conflict. And so this actually grabbed the current drug and alcohol policy that the police have and incorporate it into the CBA. So this is an addendum, but it exists already, if that helps. Was there a different question that I'm not answering?
Follow up?
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Attorney Lindsay, thank you. It just says buying and selling and all these different things, consuming or using illegal drugs per federal law, including marijuana or alcohol while on city property. So is alcohol is okay or marijuana okay when not on city property? That was the thing I just wanted to make sure that we had defined so that everybody knew exactly what that meant.
Well, thank you for the clarification, and sorry I couldn't answer more succinctly. So the use of illegal drugs per federal law would include marijuana. But then in this state, because marijuana has a recreational component, it's also sort of added in there, even though literally for federal purposes, they can't break federal law. So marijuana is a no-no in their usual life as well for our guys. And for me as well, because I'm a lawyer and I have to follow all the rules too. But the alcohol is what then is also explicitly in, even on city property. So they can't just show up, even if they're off duty on city property, under the influence of something.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, anything further?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Brown?
that item may be addressed in bullet C, where it says, consuming or using illegal drugs is strictly prohibited.
Okay. Anything further? Council President Starr, would you please put a motion on the table?
I move to adopt Resolution R2025, authorizing the city manager and chief of police to sign the 2025 to 26 collective bargaining agreement with the Keizer Police Association Sergeants Bargaining Unit.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, authorizing the city manager and chief of police to sign 2025-2026 collective bargaining agreement with Keizer Police Association for the Sergeant Bargaining Unit. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Thank you all very much. Let's go to item 9B, which is a resolution authorizing city manager to sign management agreement with Keizer Community Field Association for Keizer multi-sport synthetic turf fields. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This item originally came to you on February 18th of 2025, and you referred it to a work session. So on March 24th, we had a good work session discussing all of the management and agreement that was proposed, as well as the fee schedule. We had a follow-up meeting with Keizer Community Fields after the work session. They came to an agreement based on the feedback that we received from your work session. So let me go over some of the changes that we put in there. We extended the agreement to be for the remainder of this year plus 2026. So it would be expire April 30th of 2027. And then there would be two one-year extensions available. Then also, we talked about quarterly payments coming from Keizer Community Fields. And we talked about that with them and came to an agreement that we would do a quarterly payment of 80% of the profits from that quarter. And then it would be, we would have a truing up in March of each year after the full year of operation. The city will allow a banner advertising in the short term using some administrative authority that we have to grant for a special event, basically. We would consider a season of the sports a special event, so we can let them get that revenue immediately, while also pursuing the amendment to the Keizer sign code. The one thing we talked about was the ability for Keizer Community Fields to pass on the cost of chemical toilets in the event of a larger activity where the minimum that we have, it would be insufficient. So that is included in the fee schedule. And then the fee schedule, we went through that. I don't think we were at a completely comfortable point of the light usage fee. We have a recommendation to go from 10 to 15, but there's still some math that we need to work on with that. But this gets us in this step in the right direction, and it's definitely, as we discussed at that last meeting, insufficient to cover what we were, our cost at the previous level of $10. So we may come back to with that for an amendment. But right now, the field amendment or the amendments to the fee schedule, you have two items. One is the operations management agreement, and then the second resolution is for amending the fees. We're recommending going from $60 to $75 for a full field, and then the light usage fee from $10 to $15, and then the chemical toilets passing that cost directly on to the user. So those are the amendments to the fee schedule that we're recommending. Because this is a fee schedule, you're required to accept comments on this item. Also, last year, we heard you when you asked us to do more than the minimum for whenever we change a fee schedule. So we put an advertisement in social media and also on our website. So, and we'll be doing that for the budget coming up here. So that's been put out there. And let's see. Right as we were publishing, we noticed an inconsistency in our intent for that truing up at March 15th of each year. So Attorney Lindsay has a amendment to that he would like to propose to correct that. And I think with that, I'll toss the speaking stick over to
Hey, thank you.
the attorney.
Mayor and council, so this would be on page 284 of 331 of your packet. It's at the very top. And we had, a little bit below the very top, there's bookkeeping, which will occur July 1, October 1, January, and April 1. But in the very top, it talks about those two initial meetings that were planned and the one that City Manager Brown was talking about, the truing up happens after their fiscal year, which is in January, and so they have to meet somewhere between February 1st and March 15th. And what that doesn't say, we've all agreed, the parties have agreed and talked about this, is that was the truing up meeting, but we realized that the words didn't get in there, and so it's important to put the words in. So I would just ask in that very top of the page paragraph, after it says August 1st and October 15th, period, the sentence, at the March meeting, manager will pay, and manager is the field manager, right? Will pay any outstanding unencumbered profits towards any remaining sinking fund amounts owed. So that sentence would make sure that there's not only the meeting of the minds, but now there's a codification of it. So if you're so inclined, please say as amended in the motion.
And one thing I forgot to mention is we do have from Keizer Community Fields, Ryan Finneran and Bobby Lau and Tara Schaefer Lau here with us.
Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all the work that's gone into getting us started and getting us to this point. Are there any additional questions on the agreement as presented and the proposed amendment? Thank you. I was going to take care of one piece of business first and then invite them up. And that, as the city manager pointed out, if there's anyone here who would like to speak to the fee schedule that has been presented, you are invited now to come up and make comment on that. So is there anyone here who would like to make comments on the fee schedule? Okay, seeing none, that has been done, and I would invite you up to come and share any thoughts you have on where we're at.
Excuse me. My name is Ryan Finner, and I'm from Keizer. I'm with the Keizer Community Field Association, acting as the secretary. I don't really have anything to add. I think we covered it pretty well at the work session and in our meetings, but we're available for any questions if you guys have any.
All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Finneran? Counselor Christopher?
Just quickly, so you're satisfied with the changes that we've made to this contract?
I think generally, as Adam stated, I believe there's probably some reevaluation of the light fee that's appropriate. I still haven't seen an actual bill.
Right.
So, I think there's still some math to be done there to figure out what it's really costing and what we should really be charging for it.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too.
But everything else seemed in line with what we talked about.
Follow up?
So, once we get a bill, and we know what it's actually costing you, that's the one that could come back for an adjustment, so that okay, great, okay.
Right. All right. So with the beautiful weather, a lot of activity?
It has been gorgeous. We did a free egg hunt this weekend on Sunday, had an amazing turnout. We actually ended up doing 2 rounds of around 5,000 eggs. That disappeared insanely fast. It was quite a lot of fun to see all the kids come out and run. We set up a bunch of just miscellaneous sports equipment on the field and went around hiding eggs and had a good old time. And I think it's been great. I was out there earlier tonight getting everything going. The lacrosse girls are getting ready to kick off their first home game. I know the field has been a huge boon to their program. They had said that they wouldn't have a program at all, and they're getting ready to kick off their season, I believe, tomorrow. So it's been a fantastic resource for everybody.
Yep.
That is very exciting. Anything else? Council President Starr.
I just want to say thank you for doing that Easter egg hunt, something non-sports related for the community to get them out there and to see the field. So thank you for making that investment in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for coming. Council President Starr, would you like to put a motion on the table?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025, authorizing the city manager to sign a management agreement as amended with the Keizer Community Field Association for Keizer Multi-Sport Synthetic Turf Fields, and adopt Resolution 2025, revising user fees for the Keizer Rapids Park Artificial Turf Fields, amending Resolution R2024-3506.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, authorizing city manager to sign management agreement with Keizer Community Field Association for Keizer Multi-Sport Synthetic Turf Fields, and adopt Resolution R 2025, as amended, revising user fees for the Keizer Rapids Park Artificial Turf Fields, amending Resolution R 2024-3506. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Fantastic. All right. Let's go on to item 9C, which is a funding request from the Keizer Cultural Center. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. On April 7th, Councilor Christopher requested funds to pay for rack cards for Keizer Cultural Center. Councilor Christopher let us know that the Cultural Center was unable to participate with Travel Oregon unless they had a rack card. The not to exceed cost of the rack card was $2,400. And we would like to, the request is to spend that money out of the current year's transient occupancy tax. I spoke with Robert Becker, the executive director for the Cultural Center, and their their board did make that request. We have $12,800 remaining in this year's transient occupancy tax, so there's There's plenty of funds to pay for that. Staff recommends approval of the funds for rack cards.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report of the proposal? I just have one. I just wanted to, so looking at the financials, the 12,800 remaining in transient occupancy tax, this is cash, not a budget estimate. Is that correct?
That is cash, yes.
Okay. So it's based on the funds that have actually come in.
I believe that's right, but actually I'm like, there's 5% of me that's like, but I'm,
That's why I wanted to make double sure that this is, you know, because earlier in the year, we were looking at estimates. Now we know we've received payments through the year to make sure that this is cash on hand.
yeah,
Because we're getting within that, the squeaky range between now and June 30th.
I may be able to pull that up.
I thought you said it was cash on hand.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, if you want to circle back on that, I think I get an answer for that pretty quick.
So if we can give him a couple minutes to find that, can we go on to item D while Mr. Brown looks that up? Is there any objection from City Council to get that information? All right, thank you very much. Let's take this out of order then. Go to item 9D, which is a discussion regarding potential liquor license code amendments. City Manager?
This is a great process improvement that's going to be proposed by our city recorder. And so without any further action, I'll turn it over to Ms. Bissett.
Thank you, Ms. Bissett.
Thank you. Mayor and City Councilors, the city first adopted an ordinance related to liquor license applications in 1983. It was most recently revised 15 years ago in 2010. A review of the liquor license code has been conducting, and I'm presenting some proposed changes for your consideration tonight. The proposed updates aim to streamline the process, enhance efficiency, and reduce costs, all while maintaining our local oversight. Our current liquor license application review process is both time-consuming for applicants and city staff, as well as costly for the city. Last year, we spent approximately $1,500 on processing new and change of ownership liquor license applications, while based on state statute, we only were able to charge $675. Our current process is also time-intensive for our applicants. A liquor license application on average in 2024 took 36.5 days to process. By streamlining the process, the city can achieve significant efficiencies and cost savings. A survey was conducted on how other cities handle liquor license applications. Many cities place the liquor license recommendations on the city council consent agenda, and some of the cities, Salem, Eugene, Tigard, and Portland, have administrative processes where the recommendations are delegated to city staff. Only 2 of the 15 cities surveyed conduct public hearings, and of those, 2 of them only conduct those in the case of an unfavorable recommendation, so as an appeal process. I also spoke with a background investigator from the OLCC who shared that she had not heard of any cities conducting the public hearings related to liquor license application recommendations, and the OLCC does not require a public hearing process. There are 2 proposed options for revisions to the liquor license code for your consideration tonight. The first option is moving to an administrative approval process. This process would delegate the application recommendation to the city manager or designee. There would still be an application process with a background check. Notice of the application would be placed on the city's website and available for public comments. The first option is expected to cut the processing time from 36.5 days to approximately 16 days. So this would better serve our applicants and also reduce our costs. It's anticipated to reduce processing costs from approximately $169 per application to $45 per application, generating a substantial savings for the city. Under this first option, the city manager would keep the council updated on the application that come in through the weekend report. The applications would also be available for review on the city website. The second option for your consideration is to remove the public hearing requirement and maintain a city council recommendation process. By having the liquor license application recommendations on the consent calendar, there would still be an application process with the background check. Notice of the application would be posted on our website and public comments would be accepted. The average processing time under option 2 is expected to decrease to approximately 21 days. So this would also improve our efficiency and offer a more timely and responsive experience for our applicants. Under option 2, we anticipate the anticipated cost to be reduced to approximately $58 per application. So tonight we're asking you if you're interested in either of the two options and if you have a preference between them. Once you've directed us on which method you prefer, we will have the OLCC review the process and then schedule a public hearing to adopt the ordinance in accordance with state statute.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for the research that went into this, and I really appreciate being able to modernize. Council President Starr, did you have a question?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Bissett, I just want to make sure I heard correctly. Both options still have the police background check and
Correct.
their due diligence as
Yes,
part of it, right?
that is correct, yes.
So really the only difference, to make, checking my understanding, is option 1, it just is handled internally amongst city staff.
That's correct.
Option 2, it comes to us under a consent calendar, but nothing else is different.
Correct.
Well, option 1, in my opinion, like, I think.
Any other questions? Why don't you go ahead and put that motion on the table and see where we go?
Get my glasses so I can read. I move to direct city staff to send option number 1 to the OLCC for their review and further direct staff to bring option 1 back to council if approved by the OLCC for a public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council direct city staff to send option number 1 to the OLCC for their review and further direct staff to bring option number 1, if approved by the OLCC, to a city council meeting for a public hearing. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously, and we are modernizing once again. That is fabulous.
Nice
Council
job.
President- Yes, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Mr. Brown, did you have the answer for item 9C?
I do, and yeah, thankful for that sense of doubt. So that total amount is our budgeted number. We're getting we just got the third quarter payment, and so but we are on track to meet that number, so according to Tim.
So still based on the budget estimate, but so far the budget estimates have been holding true.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. With council's concurrence, shall we go back to item 9C and ask our city council president to put a motion on the table? Any objection to going back there? Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council approve funding up to $2,400 for rack cards out of the current year's transient occupancy tax.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council approve funding up to $2,400 for rack cards out of the current year's transient occupancy tax. I'd like to do a clarification on this, that it would be rack cards for the Keizer Cultural Center. The motion is not specific.
Because that's what the staff report said, so that's what I read.
I understand
But it
that.
is not true. This would pay for 2 sets of rack cards. One is for the museum.
Okay.
And one is for the Keizer Cultural Center, all 4 of the nonprofits. The museum association that the Keizer Heritage Museum belongs to only allows rack cards for museums. So we can't use the one that is advertising the other 3. So, and that one the design for that one hasn't even started yet.
So may I then do a clarification of rack cards as requested by the Keizer Cultural Center? Because that would clarify what we are moving and seconded for these funds. Would the mover accept that clarification? Would the second accept that clarification?
Absolutely.
And I have a friendly
Is there any
amendment.
objection? Okay, there's no objection to that change. Councilor Christopher, friendly amendment?
So the other thing I would like to do, and we've talked about this informally, we've got 12,000.
Estimated.
Yeah, estimated 12,800 remaining in the transient occupancy tax funds. I would like to secure 10,000 of that for the purpose of funding the library for the next budget cycle. That's going to leave a balance of $400 in the transient occupancy tax, but that's my friendly amendment, if you'll accept it.
On this one? I object, so you'll have to make it a separate motion because that's a completely separate issue.
Can I accept, but since I made the motion, can I accept the friendly amendment?
You can, but with an objection, then it still has to go to a motion. A friendly
Just for
amendment.
the record, I would have accepted the friendly amendment.
Okay, so I can make a separate motion.
Yeah, you have to make a separate motion.
Okay. Oh, then I'll withdraw, and we'll vote on this.
Okay. All right, so keeping this separate. Anything further on the rack cards as requested by the Keizer Cultural Center? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. May I recommend that this come under other business since it's a new agenda item?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Okay.
And Mayor?
Yes, Counselor.
I have another, so now that that's dispensed with, I have a statement and another motion.
Would that go under other business because it would be
It's directly
separate?
related to this.
Oh, okay, so this has to do with the rack cards for the Keizer Cultural Center.
It has to do with that issue, correct?
Okay. Please proceed.
Thank you. I'd like to address an important matter that has come to my attention. 1 week ago, during the agenda meeting, I was accused by the mayor of acting independently of the committee I was assigned to as their liaison, the Keizer Heritage Foundation Board. It is important to note that this agenda meeting was neither recorded nor documented with minutes. The mayor's exact words were, "I want to make sure this wild woman is not acting independently of the board." Following this, she directed the city manager to conduct an inquiry and initiate a subsequent vote from the Keizer Heritage Foundation Board. The vote, conducted by email, resulted in a unanimous consent as I had anticipated because it had been covered by 3 meetings, the all-museum meeting, the executive board meeting, and the regular board meeting. However, I must express my concern regarding the mayor's actions. Her actions impugned my integrity and intentions. This is not the first instance of the initiation of an inquiry or an investigation from the mayor directed at a city councilor. Such actions undermine the integrity of our processes and should not be allowed to continue. Therefore, I move that before any city councilor, including the mayor, initiates an inquiry or investigation from the city manager or any city staff member regarding a city councilor or the mayor, approval must first be obtained from the city council. This motion is necessary to ensure due process and prevent unilateral actions that could compromise the integrity of our governance. And I would look for a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Counselor Christopher, I am appalled that I would be that badly misquoted. I asked for additional information for this particular agenda item that would reference back to the Keizer Heritage Board. That's all I asked for.
Mayor, you used that language. There's 2 people who reported it to me, and a third concurred.
I did not refer to you as a wild person, and I very much object to that language.
Not as much as I do.
Absolutely. And I do not use that kind of language. I wanted to make sure that we were staying on track, as my question that I raised here a little bit ago, to make sure that we were operating with clarity on our budgeting for the Keizer Cultural Center, as well as all of the other entities with which we do business for the city of Keizer. That was the intent of my request for the additional information. And I very much object to that characterization.
There's a motion on the table with a second.
There is a motion on it. I'm going to need a copy of it. I can't read it back because I can't see it.
Here's the motion. There you go.
Thank you. The motion is that the Keizer City Council I'll just read what it says. Councilor Christopher says, quote, "Therefore, I move that before any city councilor, including the mayor, initiates an inquiry or investigation from the city manager or any staff member regarding a city councilor or the mayor, approval must first be obtained from the city council." It's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah, Mr. Lindsay.
Would you like this to become part of your rules? Because I could bring a resolution at the next meeting if you wanted to make sure and codify it in the council rules of procedure.
I don't have a preference on that. I
Okay.
just want to ensure, I'm not the only person this has happened to, and I don't want it to happen again to any other city councilor.
Fair enough.
So I don't care
Okay.
whether, but I want I would like to take a vote on the resolution, and then you could bring it back, I mean, on the motion.
And I'll
Then
make sure
guess
it
you
gets
could bring
put
it
in
back.
the,
I mean, I'd
in
look
front
to
of
the
you
city
next time.
council to say, do you want it in the rules or not?
What's the difference? Mr.
Yeah, what's the
Lindsay?
difference?
well, if you make a minute motion right now, technically your rules say that it must be passed by a resolution.
Okay.
And so if you want it to become part of your rules where, it's in the centralized rule database, then it'll have to go in front of you as a resolution, not just a minute motion. Because right now it's put together not as a piece of resolution, but like actually just a verbalized thing.
I think I'd like to do it as a minute motion now.
Oh, okay. If the council is so inclined to make sure it's permanent, I can also bring it back as well in a duplicative fashion.
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council.
Mr. Brown?
I think if it's just in this minute motion, it's just in kind of hanging out there in the ether if you wanted to make this something it really should reside in the council rules at some point. So even if you pass this one tonight, I think I would recommend.
I could what?
Even if this passes tonight, I would
Then it can
recommend
come
that it come back
I'd
as.
be fine with that.
So do both.
Do
Yeah.
both.
That would be great.
Yeah. Your minute motion would make it operative right now.
Great.
But really, if it's a council rule of procedure and you want to end those, it has to be by resolution. So it'd be good to land them in there next time.
Okay, I totally agree with that.
Okay.
So we're gonna vote. And then it will happen anyway.
I will bring it to the next council for your guys' pleasure.
That sounds great.
Counselor Parsons?
I think I'm just confused though as to what you're talking about, like have an investigator you're just talking about her doing the investigation or everybody? I don't understand what you're saying in the last part of that motion.
Okay.
Okay, so.
What it means is.
Okay, but before we put it in the council rules of procedure, I would like that spelled out a little bit before I agree to anything like that.
He can clean it up, but
Okay.
I want it effective immediately. Any one of us, by this motion is prohibited by starting an informal inquiry independent of the city council regarding any city councilor without the approval of city council.
But that's not what,
That's what it says.
is that what,
That-
Mayor?
that is
you
what it said.
That's what her motion is. So I've got a question because there was, if there are issues that we need to bring forward that are statutory in nature, would this prohibit that? Because that will run in afoul of state regulations, and that's going to be a problem.
Well, there is a section in your rules that do deal with investigations into the breakage of rules, a substantial breakage of rules. And so they do exist in there, and that does call for certain processes to eventually come in front of the council before an investigation is actually ordered. So it's not running afoul of that. Really, what this is doing is, it sounds like it's not only reminding, but then also basically saying, if you don't have this course of process, you can't just come up with a different random one, if that's what I'm understanding.
I just don't, I don't want any city council to work independent of the council as a whole.
Yeah.
And so I don't want any city councilor, including the mayor, to be able to initiate an inquiry or an investigation without the approval of the city council.
Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, so using the example in your statement, if I wanted to make sure that there was support for the request that you made, I would bring it back to the council and say, somehow work with staff or Mr. Lindsay to bring it back to, and ask to bring it back as a motion or a staff report about getting a vote of whatever entity it is that's asking for the money, that they support the request. Is that?
Yeah.
So I would have to get the council, I would bring it back to council and ask for a vote of council to support the requirement or the request to
Inquiry.
go back, inquiry to go back to the entity.
Correct.
Right, okay, thank you. Just wrapping my mind around that, thank you.
Mr. Lindsay?
And just because it doesn't feel like I answered your question entirely to your satisfaction, the way you're looking. There is a vehicle in not only your rules, but just in the situation of how the city is set up, that if one potential counselor had certain legal issues, I am a vehicle as the attorney for everyone to write a confidential memo, and we could avail ourselves of executive session on any issue that rose to sort of a state level sort of thing, if that makes sense. So there's always that way, and that is still the whole council deciding whether or not they want to proceed that way. So it lives in the spirit of that motion, and yet it doesn't tie our hands too much, if that helps.
So picking up on that when we are dealing with issues that are not just asking for some confirmation documentation, but of other issues that we want to double check because they may have or did run afoul of statutory considerations. Is it the intent to prohibit that? Because I don't think we can under our oath of office or under state law.
Well, and the way I see it in terms of the ability of the council to always seek my advice is that even if one person comes and seeks advice, I will give it to everyone, because I don't give independent legal advice, I give advice to the group. So that is always a fail-safe for so that you don't run afoul of law.
Okay, so that will not prohibit that, and then if it's in the judgment of our legal staff that further inquiry or investigation is necessary, then it's in your court, is that correct?
Well, it would still be in the council's court, technically, because they enforce their own rules and against each other. So it would come to the council, but because I'm your attorney, I can if I write a confidential legal memo, we can go in executive session if we want and talk about it. That's one of the allowable vehicles for using the privilege setting. So then you can kind of protect the dignity of anybody involved.
Which would be preferable to,
Having to come
especially as the
in
first
front
step.
of the public, yeah.
Right, to make sure that we are following process and procedure.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're not setting ourselves up for squelching important statutory requirements and also inquiries as necessary.
Yeah.
So if it's something minor, such as a minutes confirmation or something like that, I don't see that as a problem. Okay. But at this point, because I don't have a clear understanding of the motion on the table or what that's going to look like, I'm going to have to be a no till I get better understanding of where you're going with it and have a chance to think it through for the unintended or intended consequences. Okay, any further discussion? Counselor Kohler?
So my understanding, just help me, I'm just wrapping my head around this.
Yeah.
So what we're voting on tonight is to say, is this a practice that we want to put in practice now, or a rule we want to put in practice now, and then Counselor Lindsay, our city attorney, will bring it back so that we can actually officially put it in the rules of procedure, and at that point, it would be more fully put into basic understanding language that maybe I could understand. Is that correct?
Yes, but he may tweak it a little bit, but I mean, it's pretty clear. What it says is not any one of us can go off and start an inquiry or start an investigation on their own or direct staff to without council approving that. So in this instance, the mayor asked our city manager to get verification by a vote of the board that this was their desire and intent. That was an inquiry, so she didn't believe me as the liaison to that committee, so she went off and asked our city manager to do that independent of the city council. That would not be, we would not be able to do that. So if Councilor Cross brings something, and I'm curious as to, gosh, where did that come from? I don't know if that's accurate. I could not accuse Councilor Cross of being independent of whatever organization that she's representing on her request without the consent of the council.
I guess I'm confused. Have we questioned anybody else that's brought motions like this before?
There have been other instances where inquiries and investigations took place independent of the city council approving them, yes.
Interesting, thank you.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying no. No. Motion passes 5-2. The two noes are Parsons and Clark.
Okay.
Okay. That actually procedurally probably should have come under other business because it was not part of the funding request, but city council determines the agenda. And that is the direction you want to go. Let us go then to item 9E, which is to authorize the city manager to sign a letter of support for Comcast Broadband Equity Access and Deployment BEAD Grant Program. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Comcast reached out to me on April 7th, 2 weeks ago, asked for a letter of support for a grant application they're making to the State of Oregon Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Grant. The state has $689 million for sub-grantees within the state to extend broadband infrastructure. So they are wanting to make an application for that, and part of the scoring criteria is having the support of the local governing body. You may ask yourself, well, why does Comcast has high-speed internet access to most homes, but if you don't know, Comcast has fiber that goes to a box, and it typically goes to your house through a coax cable. So it is only going as fast as the coax cable will allow it. So they would be wanting to put fiber directly from where their fiber ends at the box to the house. So they're asking for a letter of support. It really has no financial impact on the city. If anything, I said it could make our franchise funds go downward, which really shouldn't be any part of the decision-making, only because if there's more competition, it usually drives prices down, which directly affects our franchise fees. But I know that you make an opinion independent of that. They're Scoring application opens tomorrow and through May 22nd. So if you decide to approve this application, then we'll get a signed copy to them. They already have a franchise agreement with the city, so they already are allowed to work within the right-of-way. But I'm sure if they got this funding, then there would be additional work in the right-of-way. With that, we recommend authorizing the letter of support for Comcast.
Council President Starr, I have a question.
And then go, Counselor Duran, go first.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Brown, is this letter simply for the city of Keizer, or is this supportive of their work across Oregon or Marion County?
So, good question. I'm glad you asked that. They are identifying their boundary as the Salem Keizer School District. So, they're looking for a letter from Keizer, and I'm assuming they're going to be looking for a letter from Salem also, and any other parts that are unincorporated between those two entities in Marion County that may be covered by the Salem Keizer School District.
Follow up. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I worked with many families during COVID when they were having to do school from home. And there were a significant number of families that we worked with that didn't have access to the needed internet service and or Wi-Fi. And it definitely, for me, this is about equity and access and support of our of all of our families. And so I am wholeheartedly in support of this.
Councilor Duran.
Mr. Brown, is this something that the other fiber optic companies that we have agreements with are able to do also? I mean, could we be getting more of these requests?
If in the next window of 30 days, we possibly could, but they haven't heard from any of them. Now, some of the ones we're dealing with more recently are going directly fiber to the home. So this Comcast is, again, they just have the fiber to the box. So there's a limit on them right now.
Yeah, I was just curious. We're going to be seeing more of these because we have Ziply and there's another one that's in Salem. I don't remember what it was, but there's somebody else advertising out on billboards now too.
I think they would be eligible applicants for the same grant. So.
Ghost. Councilor Parsons.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Ziply came to my door and said, would you like us to bring the fiber optic to your home? Because if we said no, it's going to stay just in the right of way. It's not going to come to our house, right? So that's what I'm saying is they're not automatically putting it to our house unless we give them permission to put it to our house. That's what Ziply told me. I don't know if they asked y'all, but that's what they asked me. Well, that's interesting. I guess they're all telling us something different. Okay.
Okay.
I said no.
Yeah.
Anything further? Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Councilor Parsons, I think you're right. I mean, they can operate in the, within that right-of-way, that space, which is, I don't know, 10 feet from the curb or something, but to actually go right to your house, they are going to need your permission. I think that's accurate.
Okay. Council President Starr, we want to put a motion on the table?
Yes. I move that the Keizer City Council authorize the city manager to sign a letter of support for Comcast broadband equity, access, and deployment, or their BEAD grant request.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council authorize the city manager to sign a letter of support for Comcast broadband equity, access, and deployment BEAD grant program. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no.
They can't hear us.
Okay, you can't hear this one? Okay, looks like ours,
You can hear nothing?
Hello?
okay.
You can't?
So something is short out.
Yeah,
All right, anyway, motion passes unanimously.
We don't know IT, we don't know.
Ms. Brown?
This is a ploy to get funding for you. No. No, she's
Just want to speak loud.
checking on.
Council, we're going to take a 5-minute recess while we resolve our auditory issues. We're in recess.
Would it be better not to have?
All right, Keizer City Council is back in session. We are going to resume with our agenda on item 9F, which is a resolution authorizing the Keizer Police Department to conduct administrative inventory of custodial personal property. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In council, Chief Copeland has this issue, and he will talk into the fan.
I'm almost afraid to talk to see what it's going to sound like.
Oh, my
That's what they're doing out there.
So this is amazing.
I think this is gonna work.
Would it be better just to cut the mics?
Well, we got to be able to
is-
broadcast.
Oh, they got a problem.
Yeah, covering,
they were still hearing us back there.
yeah.
Right, because the mics are on.
Oh, but turn.
You're just going to hear some weird
Can
digitized
you
voice. It's
turn
fine.
it down out
Right.
here?
Like we're talking to the fan. Okay, the reason this resolution is before you is we're trying to move our agency into the 21st century. This has been a long time going, and there's a lot of other police agencies in the state that have this very resolution, have an ordinance, and it has to come before you because we as a police department, by statute and by case law, cannot just make up our own administrative searches. It has to come from a politically accountable body, which is you all, outside of law enforcement. And so this has come before you to grant us authority to develop a policy. And the policy will not come back before you, but the policy will look very much like the resolution. It'll just be a policy and procedure for us so that we can have this. The reason that these things are important for us is, I'll give you an example. We see somebody leaving a car. We're interested in who that person is. They have a backpack on them. As they decide to run from us or to leave wherever they're going, if they dump that backpack in somebody's yard, we can't search that backpack. So what we have to do, we just take it and we put it into our property and evidence. So our property and evidence gals are asking us, because we just hired Jill today, by the way.
Jill.
Awesome. Gust.
No,
She's awesome.
she's awesome.
Anyways, her and Amanda have been asking us for an administrative search policy so that we just don't take whatever's in that backpack and put it back in our property and evidence room. It could be fentanyl, it could be food, it could be anything in that backpack. We just don't know what it is and we can't search it,
Oh, got it.
right?
got it.
So what it doesn't give us is automatic authority just to search everything. It would give us permission, once we start searching that, if we come across any type of criminal, whatever, we then have to write a search warrant. So, I mean, you can clarify more on that.
It also helps because if you're grabbing property, say there's even a bag just left here and you don't know what's in it, it could be something dangerous, it could be nothing dangerous, but it also could be valuable. And we don't want the police to be holding a backpack and then somebody said, hey, I had 5 gold bars in there, you guys stole from me.
Yeah.
So it also allows them to get in there and inventory what property is in there so they don't get accused of theft as well.
Yeah, and that's a big one too. We tow cars for whether DUI or because a driver's misdemeanor suspended or whatever. Whatever's in that car, they can say that we stole, right? It's just a protection for us, like city attorney was saying. So it's really healthy for us to have an inventory policy like this. Salem's had it ever since I've been in law enforcement, and it was recently brought up again. We met with our district attorney, Brendan Murphy, and he's like, hey, this is the way you want to do this. And then actually I give a lot of credit to City Attorney Lindsay and to Trevor Winning, Lieutenant Winning. They really did all the work, and I'm just presenting it to you today. So you do have a couple different options because you always have options and choices. We would like to see this resolution adopted, or you could not adopt it, and we would be in the current state we're at now.
Okay.
So, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Brown?
Chief, just ask you, we're talking about Jill Coberly, right? Not Jill Gust?
Yes.
Oh, we gave everybody a
Yes,
heart
thank
attack.
you. I did. I really like her too. She's amazing. We
So
did
who
not
did you
hire
hire?
her. Jill Coberly. She was from Woodburn.
Oh.
She lived 16
God,
years here in
wow.
town.
I mean,
Sorry,
I was happy for
thank
Jill,
you.
but I was having a heart attack
I really
for the chamber.
like Jill. Wrong Jill.
Okay,
Sorry.
both Jills are awesome,
Thank you.
and now we have clarity on which one. Thank you, because there was a massive heart attack
Oh,
up
I know.
here.
You're like, how did we do that? Stole it from the chamber.
Yeah, in the middle of getting ready for Keizer Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, everybody's breathing now. And all the rumors on Facebook, go ahead and everybody retract those real quick.
Rumors are good.
Okay, calming things down, back to our business. Any questions on the resolution, Counselor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief Copeland, if you had a backpack and it had a hamburger and french fries in it, are you authorized to dispose of the hamburger and french fry?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we don't attract ants. Mr. Lindsay?
So this resolution from the political body allows them to have a policy. They have a developed policy or will develop a policy, and they're not completely reinventing the wheel. They're using ones that have been defendable. So, and that will be spelled out in their policy.
Perfect.
So this gives them the permission to have one.
All right. Follow-up?
But we're not going to see the policy.
If you want, we can share it with you, though.
Yeah.
There you go. If you're curious about how that works, then yes, that information can be shared. Anything further? Council President Starr, would you please put a motion on the table?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025, authorizing the Keizer Police Department to conduct administrative inventory of custodial personal property.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, authorizing the Keizer Police Department to conduct administrative inventory of custodial personal property. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Item 9G, discussion regarding council rules and procedures, section 14 proclamation. Mr. Brown?
We didn't talk about who was going to take this, but at the last council meeting, you made some changes to the council rules which were approved, and the hour got late, so we pushed section 14 until today. And the issue in section 14 was about recognizing the groups, the monthly proclamations. And let's see, I'm going to pass the ball over to you and see if you want to add anything to that.
Or Mayor, if you, we can tag team it as well. This is just, you actually brought up the question.
I did.
Many moons ago now, right? And so
Yes.
this is the final sort of change to your council rules of procedure that although we'll probably bring one next time as well. But if the discussion here is, and I know that Ms. Bissett is also part of this, is what is the better practice in terms of when proclamations come in? Do they have to come to this body every meeting and then you all have to discuss it? Or do we want to hold them for a certain amount of time, whether that's 6 months or every year or every quarter, so that you guys could have them in front of you as whether or not you want to either accept them for presentation or accept them for just observance? And so what process do you guys want for that? And that's the question.
So and just to add on that, what we adopted back in, I think it was January, we tried it out and ended up with problems regarding, because we couldn't just ask everybody if you want to do it, it has to be on the agenda for public meeting law. Working with Ms. Bissett, she developed, and in your packet, you have an online request form, which will simplify things tremendously for people making requests for proclamations. And so thank you to Ms. Bissett for that idea and putting that together. And then tries to capture what we have been figuring out since January on dealing with proclamations. So with that, this is the proposed change to section 14 for your consideration. Any questions? Should we put a motion on the table? See if we want to make the changes, council rules?
I'm just reading. There is
Council President Oak.
So can you direct me? We don't have a proposed motion?
This was a discussion item. And so I believe you could say, I move to amend. Yeah, exactly. If you were so inclined, I move to amend the council rules of procedure, as presented on page, 321.
All right. I move the Keizer City Council adopt the amendments to the council rules of procedures as presented on page 321.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt the changes in the rules of procedure as presented on page 321. Any further discussion? Councilor Parsons?
Yeah, but that doesn't include this, right? That's just including this, correct?
Correct. The online form is referenced, but that doesn't go in the rules of procedures. That's procedural. It would just be made available on our website. Is that correct, Ms. Bissett? Okay. And Mr. Lindsay?
This is also one of those because your rules of procedure have to go by way of a resolution, which we have not prepared because of this discussion. If that is the motion, we will bring it back next meeting as well with a clear change to your rules through resolution.
Bless you. Councilor Duran, do you have a question?
Yeah, maybe I wasn't listening, but is this gonna tell us that we just meet once a year to do this? Is that, this does say that? Okay.
Yeah. So it says, a request along with the recurring list adopted by City Council shall be considered annually in January and placed on a proclamation calendar.
Great.
Okay. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say, Ms. Bissett, thank you for your hard work on this.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Mr. Brown?
Madam Mayor and Council, the one thing I would bring up is an idea that Councilor Parsons had that she discussed with me, and that is that we kind of bifurcated the proclamations into two categories, the formal and an informal list. And I think that's a good idea that when you do this annually, that you have a formal list and then the informal list. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's in the
No, that was.
revision here, but I would support, I like Councilor Parsons' idea.
So perhaps,
Can I make a
oh.
friendly amendment then, please?
yes, Councilor Parsons.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment that we have two lists, the ones in, the ones out. Well, you know what that means.
Formal.
Yeah.
Formal and informal.
Yeah, that too.
Accepted.
Thank you.
Accepted.
Okay, so any objection? No objection. So the motion is on the table as amended. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. All right, that one finally comes off. 9H, discussion regarding two adult supervision policy. City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This is an item that we've been talking about at staff level and already wanted to bring it to you to get for your feedback on it. We would like to bring back a policy revision that requires that any minors under 18, that we as a city have a too deep supervision policy. In other words, that adults aren't left with minors in any situation. I think I updated you. We have started to do the practice, which has only been on paper, of doing background checks for our volunteers. So we went ahead and initiated that. So we're doing that going forward. And this is the second piece of it that we would need to bring back to you in policy. But it would be that none of our adults, volunteers, and employees be left alone with minors. So really, we're looking for your concurrence to bring something back for this. And it would be with the exception of our cadet program.
our officers go through more intensive background checks than we do, and that would hamper the cadet program significantly.
Thank you very much, Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Are there, what instances now are we finding that we have a city staff with a youth?
As we fill up and get greater participation with our youth liaisons, we just want to make sure that they're not left alone with one of the committee members, not only for the youth's protection, but also for the adults' protection, that there's, verifiable word on both the youth and the adult.
Follow
up?
Is there any other instance besides our youth counselors in committees and?
I think that's the primary motivator for this policy change, but it could be, there's other foreseeable occasions where that might come up.
Okay. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to thank staff for hearing my concerns over the years about not having this policy in place. I think it's really important that when you see, especially for our youth, when you see an opportunity to improve practice and policy, that we take advantage and of the moment, and we fill in that gap, and we address the opportunities to improve and to protect our youth. So, and if I can follow up with a question? Follow up. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Does this also, will this policy also cover vulnerable adults?
Well, I had not anticipated that, but that's something it could.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Lindsay?
we certainly could just put in vulnerable adults in that policy as well, because it is your policy. And the other thing is, I wanted to ask this question because really we're just looking for you guys to direct us to come back with a resolution. So that way, this is a discussion item, but we'll come back with it next time. So you can think, if you have other great thoughts that show up in between now and then, you have an opportunity to even make it better. So vulnerable adults, I'll write down. What I want to also say is, there was a question when we were thinking about this was, do we want it to be a 2D policy with 2 adults? Or could it be, say, there's 1 adult and then there's 2 17-year-olds? Do you see what I mean? Like whether or not there's, because I'm trying to think of circumstances. It's the same way I think Mr. Kohler's question was, which is, you always have to wrangle in another adult, or could it be that you're, say, with 2 kids and one of them is yours, and so the policy doesn't apply, but then there's a second kid there, as say you're volunteering out picking up weeds, you have your 17-year-old and their 17-year-old friend, right? So now is it okay to have 3 people as opposed to just 2 adult policy? So just something to think about. It's like a discussion idea.
Kelly, if you're not going to say it, I'm going to. Yeah, go. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My preference would be no.
Okay.
I would keep it at 2 adults, because then you're going to get into the question of, well, what if it's a 3-year-old and a 17-year-old? That's still 2 kids.
Yeah.
So I would keep it as 2 adults.
Okay.
So,
I don't think anybody objects to that. I heard a ripple all the way down the dais going, I heard a question from Councilor Kohler, and I had the same one. Is there a legal definition on vulnerable adult?
I will look for one.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like there is agreement to make sure that there's a reference to any statutory definition.
Or you can make up your own definition too, and
I'd rather
Yeah.
go with the tried and true.
yeah. Well, I'll look for one.
We can't be the first ones who've done this. Well, maybe we are. I don't know. But anyway, that would be preferable. Anything else on this to, and this is consensus of council to move forward to direct staff to bring this back to us.
thank you.
Okay, done by consensus. Okay, let's go to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. I'm going to staff first, and I'll come to Counselor Christopher after that. Mr. Brown, do staff have any additional other business for this evening?
I had not planned on it, but I think you had said you would bring it up, and that is our town hall meeting, so I'll leave that in your hands.
All right.
for them.
I will bring that up after Counselor Christopher. Thank you. Counselor Christopher.
So I would like to do another minute motion regarding the balance that is, the projected balance that is left of trot money, which is anticipated to be a minimum of $10,400. I would like, and I don't know what the right terminology is, and I don't have Tim here, but I would like to set aside $10,000 of that transient occupancy tax money and carry it over to the next budget cycle for the purpose of funding the library. Just to make sure that, because here we are, we're 7 weeks out before the new budget period starts. So I want to make sure that there's enough money in there to cover the library for the next year of $30,000. There you go. I know, that was a clumsy motion, but that's what I want to do. So I need a second.
We would probably need, motion to suspend the rules, take up the matter of directing staff to come back with a budget allocation for the remainder, for $10,000 of tot funds for the library.
For next budget cycle.
Okay, so right now we need a suspension of the rule to take up the matter. So I need that motion
I move to suspend the rules.
to take up the matter. I need a
Take
second.
up the matter.
It's been moved in second to take up the matter of discussing a projected TOT set aside for funding
Set aside.
library. Is that the word you were looking for?
Yeah.
You're welcome. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Councilor Christopher, do you want to rephrase that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it a go, but
Okay.
it's probably going to be as bad as the first time. I just want to set aside $10,000 for the next budget cycle for the purpose of funding the library to ensure that we've got $30,000, which is what we anticipate that we would be spending on the library. And it's what we spent last year and it's what we spent the year before. So we have gotten this far. We're 7 weeks away.
So, hang on.
I know it's kind of a long.
Now you're getting into deliberation. So may I?
Oh, please do.
You're welcome. All right. So it would be a motion for a $10,000 set aside of projected TOT for the remainder of this fiscal year to be carried forward into the 25-26 budget for the purpose of funding the library.
Perfect. It's exactly what I meant.
Second, third, whatever.
Okay. So that's the motion. It is seconded. Any further discussion? So I'm going to go back to a question I asked earlier. As I understand, this would be based on confirmed available funds. And we are still waiting for the final quarter to come in. Is that correct, Mr. Brown?
That's correct.
Okay. So it'd be based, it would be contingent upon those dollars coming in.
Exactly. Mhm.
Okay, there's the agreement. I'm getting,
Yes.
head nods from
Yes.
everybody. This is contingent on those dollars being
Yes.
received.
Yes.
Okay. So that's on for the record.
Okay.
Okay? Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection.
Thank you, Mayor.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for bringing that up. The issue that Mr. Brown was referring to was on town hall scheduling. There was a recent request on the part of the executive leadership team to bring forward a plan for scheduling town halls that this city council has been asking for. A general town hall, and then town halls regarding urban growth boundary, and then an eventual town hall for fluoride. Those are the ones I remember from our work session. Did I miss anything? So, Mr. Brown, city staff had a proposal that was in an email. Do you want to read that so we all know what we're talking about?
Sure. So the council, we started at the end of last year talking about these town halls for the urban growth boundary, and then fluoride came up. the last time we brought it up in the council meeting, the council said they wanted just an open town hall forum where our residents could bring anything to,
First one, yeah.
the front. So, yeah, so we had worked or talked about it as a leadership team and wanted to be responsive to you. We were targeting May 3rd, which is a Saturday morning after the Percy event. So we thought folks would be in town with the Percy event going on Friday night. But, you know, that timing on the Saturday is flexible.
Is it a
We could.
holiday? No.
No.
Oh, it's just short notice.
So, you know, that's flexible. The ones for the urban growth boundary, we had penciled in the 27th and the 22nd. So the 22nd of May and the 27th. My experience is that most parents have things going on Saturdays, their kids' sports and things. And that I've done lots of these town halls and they prefer to have them, or more available to come on weeknights than on Saturdays. So that's why our logic for scheduling those. Two different ones. What would happen is the staff would give a similar presentation to the one we gave back in December about the urban growth boundary. So trying to give enough to educate and then facilitate a conference or a conversation about the yes or no, whether we, especially focused around this topic of big city, small city feel, which folks, our residents said they want like that small city feel, but the also desire to grow. So kind of balancing that out.
And the hate apartments.
This isn't really, the UGB one is one for you, the council, to observe, but not to be on the other side of the table for it. So we do the presentation, then facilitate the conversation, and then you'd be there to observe the feedback and the conversation.
Okay, so just to reiterate, the 22nd is a Thursday night, 27th is a Tuesday night, so we're hitting different nights of the week. So if somebody has soccer practice every Thursday night, they're not just out. They have an alternative. I heard Councilor Christopher and then Council President Starr.
So what we agreed to, or what we asked for, was to have 4 town halls. It's brand new for us. We haven't done town halls before. And so it would be my hope that we would not stack those all in the same month. What I was hoping that we would see is quarterly, so we would have one, what is May? May, I guess, would be second quarter. Yeah. So we would have May, and then we wouldn't have one for 3 months, but we would announce it. I think we should put a schedule together for those 4 city halls so that folks have plenty of time to plan for that. And I do think that Saturday, I think nights are just as tough I mean, ask our soccer folks. I think they're just as tough as Saturdays are. But if we knew in advance that here's the 4 Saturdays, there's only gonna be 4, and here's the 4 Saturdays, and it was like a 10 to 12 scenario, I think that could potentially work better. But I am opposed to having 2 city halls in the same month.
Well, can
I'm going to go Council President Starr and then continue the conversation with Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Disagree.
Councilor Christopher, I respectfully want to push back on that because I think that it's important when we're doing town halls, which is seeking to hear the voice of our community. I think if we're the ones asking for the town halls, I think we need to be the ones being willing to attend on a weeknight for some parents, and then also attend perhaps on a Saturday morning for those that can't make an evening. I think that gives us an opportunity. We might have there might be several of our Keizer residents that might work in the hospitality industry and work over like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend, but they could come to a Tuesday night. You might have, to your point, you might have parents or people that have something going on the weekend that can't come on a Saturday, but they could come on a Tuesday, and vice versa. We might have a population that doesn't want to drive at night, when it's dark, and so they might come on a Saturday morning. So I think that as elected officials, when I suggested town halls, I firmly had in my head that we would have an evening and a weekend morning option or a weekend option for people. I spent 7 years in volunteer management, and we always had a daytime and an evening option for many of our continuing ed trainings and our orientations, et cetera. On the same subject, yep.
Yeah.
So if we had two then in May, can I ask her?
So, yeah, go ahead.
So if we had
Follow up.
two, so you're saying, if we have one on May 3rd, which is a Saturday, the same one would then be on the 27th. So it's really one town hall.
It's one town hall, just two different options.
Oh, I meant.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did not understand that.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
And, council, I would commit to you too, if you would like a Saturday one, I will do a Saturday one also. Again, for the same issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
May
Because
3rd.
we want as many opportunities. Yep.
Maybe, but I mean, I don't think that's a bad.
You're going though, you're right. LOC, League of Oregon Cities, you're going to spring conference. Are you not?
Oh, I'm going to.
I am not able to travel,
I'm going to a little part of it.
so.
Okay.
I'm not driving down till.
Well, May 3rd is the Saturday of the conference, so.
I can attend it. I can do the town hall. I just can't travel out of town.
But so kind of backing up a little bit though, because that's a good point. I don't know, Mr. Brown, if you're going to spring conference?
Yeah, but I'm coming back
Tuesday?
Friday night, okay, so you're not staying for Saturday. So there's,
No, you make a point.
yeah,
We should be there.
I'm signed up for Saturday.
I mean, everybody should be at the town hall.
Yeah.
If
I
at all
can,
possible.
If you can, if
Right.
So then
possible.
can we do a different Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
so with that, that would be the generalized town hall, so we could do a weekday, weeknight.
Same thing. So
Yeah,
I like
but
that.
then with urban growth boundary, that's going to take, again, a dual.
But can that be the fourth one that we do? Because that is complex and meaty.
But I think part of the urgency here was that we put it on our short-term goals, and this is really the next step, is to hear from the people of Keizer on what, we've done all the studies, we've done all the work. We did the really, really well-done, work session, but now it's time to hear from people what you all think, because we've been talking about it for years, but we need to hear from the people who would pay for it. And that's the 40,000.
And staff is ready to present?
Yeah, and you're right, I personally was feeling the urgency that we can't move the issue along without this critical
This
path
was
item.
So
the
what
next
are
step.
you thinking for that?
That was
This would be the May one.
May
The
That'd be the first one?
22nd and the
22nd and 27th.
And,
I'm not here.
I'm not here.
You're gone?
I'm gone both those
well,
days.
You're gone both those days?
again, this is, the whole council doesn't need to be at these.
Okay,
This,
but didn't you say we're going to set the general session for a Saturday and a night? And it's just the general session?
no, the general session was the May 3rd date.
Right.
And then the Thursday night and the Tuesday night were for the UGB.
I think,
22nd, 27th.
I think for the general one, you need to give our community two options to attend. Yeah, I mean, from my experience in working with people who have different schedules, I think you need to give them two options.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not do, it's just general, but two different times.
Yep.
Might I suggest, there's a real trick to success of go where people already are. Is there a neighborhood association or a community event that is already happening where there will be a gathering of people? When we see the, neighborhood family councils, they have 125, 200 families showing up to those events. And these are all community members. So the parents, that's not the point of those, but people are there. They're there to receive information, they're there for activities. The recent literacy night at Cummings Elementary was wonderful. 125 families showed up. So we want to reach people that are not the usual groupings, but go to where people are. I would really encourage us to look at those kind of partnerships for, especially a general town hall. If the neighborhood family councils are willing to help us with that, with those conversations.
I'd be open to talking about that.
Yeah.
I think we should keep them separate because you don't. I think we should keep them separate because you don't want to dilute the subject matter of the neighborhood family council and the agendas that they already have started. I think our town halls need to be separate and apart. I don't disagree with taking them somewhere else other than City Hall. But I do think they need to be a standalone, have a conversation, community conversations.
And didn't we talk about, we'll meet in the living room? We're not gonna be here formal behind daises and
Yeah,
microphones.
or go somewhere, I mean,
Just neighbors
somewhere
talking
else. Yeah.
Together.
And again, it has to be, comfortable, casual, especially for this first one.
With donuts.
You had me at donuts.
Counselor Cross.
Or what if we like thought out of the box and held it at the high school or at one of the
Totally.
middle
I
schools?
agree. Or the rack.
The cafeteria at the high school.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Just throwing it out there.
I think that's a great idea.
So, let's talk about this first one, which is the general, just an open forum. Would council be open to having staff look at a couple of options, for living room, as one option, another location that is, something that is, again, that those neutral locations, and see if there's an organization that has people already coming that are willing to partner, so that we, again, have that opportunity to bring people together that might already be gathering. Counselor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And with social media, you can do a poll. You can put it out there that says, where would you like to see a town hall, and see if you get any
I like
feedback
it.
from it. And the Keizer Times likes writing about us, so we could reach out to them.
We're under 2 weeks for May 3rd, so.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
we can give them some stuff to talk about.
I'm a little worried about the timing, if we're trying to reach out to partner with other, entities or events. We're under 2 weeks, which causes me, I'd much rather, I don't know,
Maybe we should do.
the
living room
9th
for
or the
first one.
17th, yeah.
Living room for the kickoff, and then second, third, fourth, then try to partner and move around, maybe. I don't know, I'm open. I just want to meet with neighbors and hear what they have to say.
Okay, so May 3rd sounds like it should be maybe problematic with,
Yeah.
and we're getting, May 10th is that, what does that work? It is Mother's Day weekend,
Oh, well, it's Saturday.
but it's Saturday.
Yeah.
And if you're not going down at Keizer Rapids Park learning to fish, you should be available.
Great,
Or we're
I'm
down there.
available.
Do it extra fishing.
Yeah.
I'm in town May 10th.
I'm not.
Are most of us here May 10th? Who's not?
Who's not?
Counselor Cross and Counselor Duran are not here May
Oh,
10th.
shoot, okay.
Yeah, but if we're talking about the same thing, like she was
Oh,
saying.
you'll have a
Yeah.
second chance.
Yeah, we'll have a
It'll be the
second shot.
nighttime.
Okay. So let's look at May 10th, 5:10, and then find a weeknight,
We already have 27th and 28th.
27th and 22nd, that was, we were talking about
For
UGB.
UGB.
Oh, well,
It was-
why can't we have a general session? Right?
And UGB?
No, the first one is just general. You
Right,
get a
so we need
chance
to find a
come on
weeknight.
Saturday or a weeknight.
It's up to you.
But
It's in your hand.
So,
That's coming off of the Keizer Fest.
it's the same one.
The urban growth boundary is just the one that I feel like
Yeah.
we want to work on that issue, and we can't go, get on it until we kind of do that.
We
so.
gotta have a kickoff though.
But,
yeah. But we could do one, Counselor Duran,
People will come to the UGB probably more than the open.
yeah, seriously.
open one because
I think so.
Maybe.
It's a hot button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
maybe,
right.
maybe we just do that one first and see,
Yeah.
because it will get
All
more,
right,
it'll get more attention.
May 10th and May something.
as you like it.
So if we did UGB on May 10th and May 22nd, how does that feel? I know May 22nd is right after Keizer Fest. We could look at 27th. Preference?
Works for staff.
What did you say for this?
May 22nd,
Oh.
which is
I
a
would rather do,
Thursday.
let's do the 27th.
May 27th, which is the
I'm
day
gone on the
after Memorial
22nd.
Day.
It's the what, Monday?
It is the day after Memorial Day.
On a Tuesday.
Tuesday?
I think
So
I'm-
we have a, yeah, we don't have a council.
So
We don't.
if I could add, I
Brown, what
wonder
do you
if
think?
you're not interpreting this as something like Congresswoman Salinas has, where she sets up shop, or Congressman Wyden, and people come and just say what they're at. That's what we want for the general session, right? This one is more specific, where it's a presentation, but condensed, because we want most of the time to be hearing from them. But we'll collect the comments, we'll try to summarize them and get a feel for, which side was bigger. And we can do that again over multiple days. And like I told you, I will do it on a Saturday if that's one. A couple weeknights and a Saturday on the same issue, as many as you want, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, I'll be
Yeah.
there. So.
And I think more on this one's going to be better, because there's a lot of interest in this, and we want to make sure that as many people as possible can participate, because the data that we're going to be getting from this is going to be critical for anything after, we're stuck.
Mayor, it's 9, we gotta.
It is. So the decision I'm hearing, if I've got it correct, is May 10th, May 27th, and do we want to do general or jump right into UGB?
Let's just jump into UGB so staff can get on their, working on their, what we've asked them to work on.
Okay, is that consensus?
Yeah.
All right, so May 10th, May 27th, town halls on urban growth boundary.
And the 22nd was a,
22nd was sound like it was a no. So a Saturday and a Tuesday night, and then we can also regroup and see if we need to follow up in June. Does that work? Okay. All right, that took care of other business. Does staff have anything additional for us?
no.
Seeing none. Okay, agenda input. Next Monday, April 28th, starting at 6 PM, we will have our work session with our neighborhood associations. On Monday, May 5th, we will meet at 6 PM in regular session. On Monday, May 12th, and on Tuesday, May 13th at 6 PM, we will be meeting as Budget Committee. And then on Monday, May 19th at 6 PM, we will be meeting in regular session. That is all we have on our agenda for this evening. The time is 9:01 and we are adjourned.